What's up, people? Welcome to our little traveling podcast shack we call Taco Otaku, where we serve the hottest takes in anime and video games. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have our hottest, freshest takes from the last season, summer season. They're fresh off the street corner here. And today we're serving up the Elusive Samurai, Pseudo Harem, and Oshi No Ko Season 2. So if you come from some anime takes, you've come to the right podcast episode. I am your host, Ray, aka Sourdough Shonen, and joining me, we have, I guess, our usual, well, minus one crew member, but our usual anime crew for the season. So first up, we have Ivan. Ivan, how's it going, sir? How are we doing?
Going pretty good.
You feeling confident with your Oshi No Ko Season 2 when it comes to our final rankings?
Yes.
Feeling confident. All right. Well,
Yes.
it did do well on the podcast last time we had season 1. I think even made it into our greatest hits of the year. So that checks out. That checks out. So he's sizzling hot, just like the Los Angeles Dodgers, perhaps.
Wow. Sing a little brother? Just like,
I'm just saying. It's a
certain-
SoCal podcast sometimes.
just playing like certain people back in their place where they belong.
Well, San Diego's a lovely time of the year. So, maybe we should head back there and stay there for a while.
I do have a question.
Oh, no.
Because Tom was there. How did you feel from Blink?
Oh, was he there? Well, he is a San Diego person. San Diego's fantastic beer. They have fantastic beer. That's what I'm going to say about San Diego. I love the beer. Beaches are fantastic.
Their team? No comment.
Because when I saw him, I'm like, ugh, yuck. Blink 182.
I hate that album. But sadly, we didn't. Tom couldn't make it to this episode of the podcast, but we got Miles instead.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I'm back from, I guess, the dead from last time.
There you go. How did you enjoy your space music, brother? Are you going to take another long hiatus and maybe come back?
Yeah. No, I landed my ship down over here. I parked it over here so I could come for this podcast. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for landing your spaceship in the nice spaceship designated. And it's getting told, right? Because it's LA on there. Should not park there.
What do you mean? But that was a safe zone. Oh, wait, no UFOs over here.
Only Monday through Friday. Oh, weekends, they charge double and they pull it away real quick. Gotta love this town. You love the sports team, at least. That we all know. All right, well, that will do as far introductions. I guess for those, top of the... So if you want to jump, usually how this podcast works, if you're time tuning in, we usually talk about what we've been watching and playing, so a lot of anime and video games, that's not on part of the main topic. We'll jump into our main topic, and then from there, we'll talk about our early expectations and impressions of each show, and then go to our recommendations, and then, of course, spoiler talk, so in case you've already watched these shows and you want to get into the deep part, that's what the last part is for. And we got timestamps down below for you, so you could jump right there if you just can't wait. I get it. Everyone's got a busy schedule, and you want to get to the juicy matter. By all means, take use of those timestamps down below. But with that, we'll move on and talk about our weeks. And I think Ivan's technically been the longest. We're going to go to you, Miles, but I'm going to flip it coin. Ivan, what have you been up to? What you been watching and playing?
Just Marvel.
Still on the Marvel train, huh?
Marvel vs. Capcom collection.
Try to get ready for evil, huh?
Yeah, I'll be frank for this episode. How could you, Ivan?
It's interesting though because I feel like I've questioned my self-worth many times.
Looks in the mirror
as a person, as a fighting game enthusiast.
After coming matches, he looks in the mirror, like the rain like pouring down his head, like a Vegeta.
There you go.
The rain going. Looks like, am I that good? I don't know.
So I was telling Frank a little bit about it. So when games are created, they're intended to be one way.
Mm-hmm.
But people always, they
find a way to break it.
They break the game, and then so once playing online can be fun, but it can be very frustrating too because it seems like out of 9 out of 10 players they're just spammers. And when you're just playing spammers, it's like I feel like you're not really playing the game anymore.
Right.
You go into then that's where the game gets very technical and you have to learn all these different things. So I was telling Frank that I was playing this guy and he was one of these hardcore spammers, and basically I had won the match, but there was 30 seconds left and he had cable. So at that point, all he was doing is running away and then just shooting at me. So I stopped chasing him because that's how I play. I have to get close in order for me to do any kind of damage.
Right.
And then once he realized I wasn't chasing him, then he started chasing me and then I started running away.
There you go.
So I was questioning is that was that messed up for doing that? Did I
it's strategy.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing to you, so you're just applying the same logic to him.
Yeah, so I guess that's the only thing that kind of makes it not fun. Where it's just sometimes I just wish people would just
play the game.
Play the game.
but I don't want to lose my win ratio.
And that's the part I don't really understand, because like when you come across players that know how to play the game and they're like really good,
Right.
like even if I'm losing, I'm still having fun because they're kind of playing the game the way it's intended to be played.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're just, like if I see Mega Man, Cable, Sentinel, there's only one strategy. They're just gonna just shoot.
Distance.
That's their strategy.
Keep away.
And I don't know if it's like, I don't know. So it's pretty nice when you see people that are like really, really good, how they can kind of break through that and still like just crush people. But I've always mentioned Justin Wong, but he runs a low tier teams, and sometimes he'll fight people with high tier teams. And so I saw them in that same scenario. So basically the guy was just, doing that. And then at some point he kind of did what I said. What are you going to do now? I'm not going to chase you anymore. You're going to come at me. And then the guy kind of started coming, so I don't know, but that's all I've been doing. So I feel like I'm not really sure if I want to continue trying to get better, or like,
should you put your name in the local tournament scene?
No, I would never do that.
That's what he said. Famous line. Yeah. It's on the record.
He doesn't want to be on evil.
2025.
You don't want to be on top 8, after all these years.
He's gonna be there on the Twitch channel streaming.
I don't want to shut anyone off. I want to keep this power locked in, sealed away, sealed. Never open ever again.
No, when you play people that are like, basically I will call them like at the pro level. It's like, you can't even breathe in the match.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
You just but yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I got the fighting stick too. So
you went all in.
Yeah, well, the fighting stick, I'm kind of having to get used to it again. But,
right.
I think it works, at least for me. It works better with the older ones because they're slower paced. So like with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I need the fighting pad because I guess I'm just used to I'm quicker at it. But I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's a big community around the game, but today it was a little empty. But I think it's because of the new Dragon Ball game.
Oh yeah.
So I think everyone
people are excited about that new Dragon Ball game.
128,000 characters.
I keep seeing every time I'm on I don't know, the advertisement is really, they must know I'm a Dragon Ball fan because they keep sending it my way. But sure, it looks all right, I guess, but I'm like, I'll wait till it's on sale.
Yeah.
I'm in no rush.
I never played Budokai games. I played them here and there, but I think Marvel, after this collection came out, for sure I can say it's my favorite games. I will put it in my number one. I can play them all the time nonstop, and I don't get bored. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing.
There's 52 characters to choose from, so you got quite the combinations and teams to work on.
That being 128 characters like in Dragon Ball.
But that's kind of what makes it lame, though, because competitively, there's only 6 characters.
Everyone's picking the same. But usual suspects.
If you can't play as a farmer, then all hope is lost.
And then I don't. Once again, is it skill? I don't think it's skill because they're just pressing.
Well, they just want to win, and they know this is the team to win.
Yeah.
It's when I was playing Call of Duty for a while, it's everyone was using the same 3 guns and the same loadout because it was the best way to kill people really quick, right?
Yeah.
So people always want the best guns and the best team or whatever, whatever the game might be, because everyone just wants to win and, got to kill that, the win ratio, got to keep it up, right? So whatever the meta is, right? People aren't going to just follow, this is what's happening. And then, of course, if it's a live service game where something changes, it's all right, throw that character away. Now this character's great because they butchered this poor character. Because the same thing happened in the Dragon Ball FighterZ game where, certain characters are really broken early on. And the next patch came out and half the combos no longer worked. So
yeah, but it's interesting. Well, I guess one last thought, because I feel like I haven't gotten any better at all. At all. I feel like I haven't gotten.
What's your win ratio today?
I don't know, because it doesn't tell you.
It doesn't tell you.
It's just your tier. So
it says 90. 98.
Oh, it just tells you how I guess tier or class how good you be.
He's at tier 0. Oh yeah.
That's crazy. They don't tell. I'm surprised they don't tell you your rate.
I kind of like that better.
I suppose that's the confidence, right? Ignorance is bliss and all that. I suppose.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I am currently. If I'm to break it down, I'm probably mid tier. Yeah, because I'm not there's rookie, there's gold, there's silver, platinum, and I'm platinum, so I'm in the middle.
I love that Pokemon.
Yeah, and then but all the after me, if you're fighting those guys, it's just a whole different game at that point. But yeah, when I do fight people that are worse players than me, I'm like, oh wow, like I can play the game.
I know what I'm doing.
But when I play some of the better players,
I don't know what I'm doing.
because almost anything that you try, like they
already know.
They already see it, and
they can see everything.
Or sometimes I feel like I catch them off guard, and let's say they'll survive by like a hair, and then like the second, third matches, like they kind of like know what I'm intending to do, and then they'll just destroy me. So
they have that Mangekyo the Sharingan, the one that you get with the super one.
It gets stupid after a while, Naruto, by the way.
It's interesting because a lot of people, that when they say Marvel, like they're kind of scared to play it, and I'm like, why would you be scared to play it? But I grew up with this, so like for them, like let's say you're like 18 and you're like, oh, like this the way it moves and feels, like they just don't have that emotion, and I do. So that's why I'm not good by any means. I feel like I'm a terrible player, but I understand how it feels. That's the best way I can describe. So I can move and around the game because I know how it feels. Like, so it's not hard for me to do certain things because like I just kind of like have the motion of it. I don't know.
I get you.
Yeah.
I understand the basics idea of it, despite, once again, fighting games are things like I dabble in and I enjoy, but by all means am I not very good at keeping up with them and this and that.
It is pretty crazy, 50 hours.
That's a dedication, especially for an Ivan.
Yeah, you're talking to Ray over here who's been like 434 hours of playing one game.
Well, but they're all different. See, they're different because this time I was a boy and a girl, and then sometimes I married a boy and a girl, and then it's all different. All right, alternative universes.
Getting getting children to marry the right person, so that we get the right children.
Well, they need to have the right stats, all right? If I need to take over, someone's got to save the galaxy, the universe, and all the timelines, and the strongest children are necessary to do that. All right,
this poor girl. But this guy's an asshole. No,
you will fall in love, goddammit.
I do have like almost 400 hours in Mario Kart though.
Should have kept that one. Cheers. Frank's listening right now. He's fuming. He just can't see straight now.
Hey, you can blame Richard for that too.
There you go.
He's responsible. He drags me out. I don't want to sometimes.
I didn't want to print the card out, but he forced me to.
He always said, like, doing Mario Kart, I'm like, oh, I'm sleeping. And he'll send me a chicken meme. And I'm like, oh.
It's Back to the Future out here, apparently.
Are you calling me a
chicken? Oh, my goodness. All right. I guess for me, I'm going to steal the mic now, just because my week's pretty short. So besides our homework assignment, which we'll get into our main topic in a little bit after this, not much to say. Instead of, I mentioned last week that me and Miles here were watching Ted Lasso season 3. Are you familiar with the Ted Lasso there, Ivan?
Soccer one?
Yeah, the soccer one.
I haven't watched it though.
Yeah, it's well, the first 2 seasons are pretty good. Season 3 kind of fell off a cliff towards the end.
Well, it wanted to get to a certain spot somehow. It doesn't matter if the wings are pulling off and things like that. We're gonna get to this plot point. I don't care.
Yeah, so they do a lot of quick things just for the feels and just to get the point done and in and out. And so you feel a little shortcut because I guess this is supposedly the last season of the series. And so a lot of things they kind of started up or things they teased at the end of last season just quickly get, with a nice little bow and called it a day.
Or even not even a bow, more like
a Band-Aid, duct tape,
yeah,
prayers holding it together.
Like an Amazon package, just throw it.
Yeah, pretty much. So this thing,
it made it.
It had a bumpy ride, let's say, season 3.
Fragile.
And yeah, it's not terrible, but it's definitely easily the weakest season by a long shot because of all those little things of not enough time to finish all these plot lines we started, and then all things we said before. It's like, oh, maybe we didn't say all those and do all those terrible things, but I'm like, I remember you doing and saying all these terrible things. So,
but I wasn't a bad guy.
But yeah, so that Ted Lasso season 3, a little
clunky.
Yeah, a little rough around the edges, but overall, it still kind of has the feels and the comedy that you're used to. So, if you just so happen to have a subscription to Apple TV Plus, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, it's something to watch.
Please check your local phone provider. You might have it back.
There you go. But yeah, so that was Ted Lasso. I guess over on Twitch TV, where I play video games for those who don't know.
Really?
I've been playing Dead Space in time for the spooky Halloween season. Dead Space is a survival horror space game where you're on the ship and everything has gone bad. And there's nothing but monsters that want to kill you and rip your guts out, and you're just there to find your girlfriend and get the hell out of there. So
what about the others?
Yeah, who cares? They're long gone. I can't save those people. They're long gone. But yeah, so it's been fun going through that. I did play, so this is a remake that came out like, I think 2 years ago now. I did play the original back on the 360, but it's been, I haven't played it since then, so it's kind of fun going back and replaying it and trying to remember what I remember, and it still does the spookies pretty good, so if you like a good spooky game and you like that survival horror that like Resident Evil has, it's also got that because you got to make those shots count because you don't want to miss because you're going to have problems if you miss your shots.
So is it kind of like the Resident Evil remake in which they try like the obvious things aren't so obvious, they try to like change it a little bit, or is it just a straight port?
It's tough because like I said, it's been a long time, and like I enjoyed Dead Space, but like I wasn't like really into it, like versus Resident Evil where I remember every dumb little thing. Or it's funny, I'll remember things and then give me a month later I'll totally forget how everything works again, and then I have to figure it out and learn. But it's been so long that I can't tell you for sure, but I want to say it's more of the same than not versus like the GameCube remaster they put out all those years ago where certain things they did twist and turn around just to keep you on your toes a little bit. But like I said, I could be misremembering it. And it's a lot of, you want to check every corner to find the level ups and the power abilities. So there's a lot of that going on as well. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. The jump scare still works, so if you want to see me squirrel and scream, I'll do it all.
Oh, you want to be a squirrel and a scream?
There you go. I could, if I scream like a squirrel. How about that?
Now, how does this, brother? How does a squirrel scream? Sounds like a dolphin. Like a dolphin.
Well, there's it's a zoo, all right. The dolphins are next to the squirrels, all right.
Oh yes, of course. Being the water animals, the squirrels are. Yes, got it.
Well, I know in particular there's a team that has like a lot of free time to go to like a lot of water parks like in their local area. So maybe they're checking out. Maybe they can let me know what the squirrels sound like.
Oh, okay, I have to make sure. Those pesky squirrels.
So pretty pesky squirrels. But yeah. So anyway, Dead Space. So I'm still playing that over there on Twitch TV. There's a link down below if you're curious. I usually try to stream. I'm going to say Monday, Tuesday because once again, certain sports are happening on Sundays, and so maybe I'm not the best streamer on Sundays.
Well, there's some positive things and some negative things of moving on from the series.
But yeah, so look forward to once again watching me scream like a squirrel. Apparently, why not?
Yeah, scream like a squirrel. There, just put that in the logo.
And then the only thing of note, just because like I feel like I'll forget if I wait towards the end of the podcast, so I'll promote it once again right here. I am solely working on everyone somewhat
the Taco Otaku
cross promotion collaboration, something a charity stream that's happening in November 16th. That's correct. It's going to be supposedly a 24-hour stream. We'll see how long I can survive. I'm an old man.
Question mark.
To wake me up to keep streaming, but I'll see how far we could go. It's a charity for the Extra Life Foundation, which focuses on children's hospital around the country. In particular, since we're out here in the great city of LA, we will be raising money for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles itself. So we're doing that November 16th. So look forward to the stream there. But if you just can't wait and you want to make sure you get your donation now, you could do so right now. And what's sweet in the deal, if you go down below, and there's a link for that, and also in this podcast, there's a lot of links down below in that podcast description.
It's a very long description.
For a $50 donation, you could pick a game of your choosing, and we'll play it for 1 hour of the stream. So maybe, or Ivan's going to now send us $50 so we can play Marvel, and you can watch us choke.
Yep.
There you go. Now, actually, I think about it. Well, people could donate up to 2 hours, so Ivan's definitely now throwing in all the money he can, so we can play more Marvel, so he can level up. He's got to get to that platinum tier. What is the highest tier, Ivan? Do you know what the highest? Grandmaster. Wow, that's a fancy ass title.
I mean, it's higher than a superstar. It's kind of funny.
There you go. So yes, if you want to see us achieve
the Grandmaster status,
there you go. We'll lock it apparently for the kids out there. That's
my tears are tears for you.
There you go. Yeah, pretty much. If it's for a good cause, as I mentioned before, I'm willing to try almost anything, as long as it's video game related. Not almost anything. Big asterisk on that.
Gonna add some hot tubs.
That's maybe next year we'll unlock the hot tub subathon or charity-a-thon. I don't know how you would describe it.
Yeah. They do that, right?
That is a thing that happens on Twitch TV. Yes, there's a lot of stuff on Twitch TV.
There are a lot of things you could do.
I'm just a little fake VTuber streamer person out there that just plays video games for giggles, and apparently once a year tries to get money for the kids out there. So that's what we're doing on November 16th. And like I said, if you want to participate, help us in $50. It'll get you a game of your choosing, and it can be a fun game, hopefully, or it could be more of a tougher game, like a fighting game, or
like Idolmaster.
Or oh god, well, all right, well, I know Miles is chipping in $50, so you could just force me to play Idolmaster.
Oh come on, once you get used to the meta controls, you're dancing around and singing around, and now you got to make sure you get make sure you get to train your idols every day.
There you go.
Schedule things like
Are
that.
you doing it with anyone else or just by yourself?
I know Frank's gonna come by. I think Andy might stop by, but yeah, that's a whole. Hopefully, we have a little bit of a rotation of people coming and going. Most likely, we're gonna stream around 5, 6 o'clock at night and go all the way till 5 o'clock on Sunday.
Oh,
Afternoon, early evening. That's the goal. That's the goal. So if you want to help us achieve that goal, if you fill up the block by donations, then I guess I have no choice but to stream 24 hours. So
are you gonna take a break or no?
There's gonna have to be a couple little breaks, but I'm trying to.
That's what a Red Bull's for.
There you go. I might have to tag out. We'll see. Maybe that's when Miles could show up with his Idol Master and show everyone his favorite.
Hey! No, don't throw him at a good time.
Well, it just kind of reminds me. Oh, this is gonna make me sound so old. But
oh no.
Back in the days, there used to be a channel called MTV.
What's that?
And Courtney Love did like a 24-hour thing.
Oh.
So for some reason I'm just remembering that, and yeah, at some point they do go and sleep, but
nah. Fuel me. Some coffee, some of the gamer fuel. I'll be fine.
Yeah, the balls, right?
But
yeah.
I just remember though, like thinking like, how do they do that? How do they stay awake? Or
I've done it before. What's a slightly random tangent? What's the longest you guys ever been up awake for?
I think probably I've done maybe 18 hours.
18 hours?
Because
okay.
let's say I woke up like at 5:30 in the morning and I
Mm.
don't go to bed like almost like 3 a.m. Maybe 2 a.m. So it's basically almost a whole day.
Not bad, not bad.
Me, roughly 22.
Almost went the distance. Almost went just a little
But
short.
then, unfortunately, it's like, the problem is like once you start getting comfy in your bed, right? You're kind of like, no, I feel I want to get relaxed. I've been sitting in this chair for a bit. No, let me like relax on the bed. It'll be fine.
You're done.
Done.
It does happen. I've probably been up 26, 28 hours. I think was the longest I stayed up. And it's kind of interesting. I guess it's interesting. Probably like bad interesting, but the fact is like the longer you stay up, it feels like, or at least to me, I felt like I was getting like intoxicated. Like, I'm like, how am I drunk? I haven't had any
it's like a runner's high. You got like, I don't know where we're going, but yes, let's go.
So yeah, you get a little loopy, or at least I do. So hopefully I don't get too loopy on stream. Guess we'll see if we get that far.
It's in your body kind of telling, hey.
Yeah, basically, hey,
danger.
recharge. Yeah, I'm better about recharging my phone apparently than my own internal battery.
Just like Seinfeld, was like the gas isn't empty yet. We'll see how far
just keep going. It broke off miles ago. Yeah, so I guess they'll look forward to November 16. Watch me choke, and but yeah, hopefully we're gonna have a little bit of everyone show up every so often or so, and maybe I might do like if I need a slow break, maybe I might do like a little anime segment here and there. So yes, look forward to a YouTube video popping up probably this week. Me trying to promote the charity stream since it's getting closer and closer. So get those donations in while you still can, so you can help make the schedule happen. So yeah, that's the thing that I'm slowly working on, and also YouTube video. But oh god, that's more stuff to do. But that's for next podcast's problem. Future me's gonna hate looking back, but that's his problem. Not present me. Present me's okay.
Yeah, and past me doesn't care because he's already gone.
Yeah. But yes, that is it for my week. So Miles, that leaves you, brother, since you weren't here last week.
I did take some notes from last week.
Oh, did we tune in?
I tuned in, all right.
Oh boy,
come on, Zelda. Of course I'm gonna. And yes, for the record, because I know everyone's been shocked by this. Oh no, Miles almost finished the game yet again. I guess now I'm in my 5th dungeon. I already passed to the 2nd part already, and I already almost beat that. But I stopped because I was going too hard. It's too fast.
Too furious.
Yeah.
Every time I gotta sneak it in there.
So, like you mentioned, brother, and you're representing our complaints about the
Link's Awakening
remake, which they still haven't fixed.
No.
Or other enhanced methods.
Well, there's other ways. Let's say
there's
another. There's another.
See, kids, when a game you love gets trashed like that, there's some things you gotta take the matter to your own hands. Regardless of this game. It is interesting though. Like you guys mentioned, a lot of beds. You gotta love the bed.
Beds.
That bed carries Zelda to every single thing. Do I need anything else? Nah. Do I need his bat? Nah. Do I need a pot? Nah. But the only downside, I feel like that gets too cumbersome at the end. There's so much things like I need to get a pot. It's like you're scrolling through the endless amount of things you copied, right? Like I feel like it's too.
Oh, it's a lot of yes.
It's a lot of, and I guess regardless of what you guys do, I set mine to cost because you could I sort it.
Right. I've seen it, but I've never used it.
Because when you try it to a certain amount, you could do more copies and everything takes less points for you to copy things or to make clones, I guess. But the beds are number one. The beds, you can regenerate health. Who needs smoothies? I don't need this. I'll just go sleep in this bed and then just wait for the monsters. Like, wait, my heart's not full. Give me it.
I have a question. Is this like a brand new game or like a remake?
Brand new game.
Oh, brand new game. Okay.
Yeah, but
Echoes of Wisdom. By the way, I don't think Miles actually said that.
Wow.
He just said Zelda. The Zelda game.
Well, come on. You don't know what Zelda is now. I don't know.
There's a couple of those, Miles. You might want to help our poor listeners. Which one in particular we're talking about?
Sorry.
There's only what 15, 20 games?
It's only existed since 1998. No. What? I wish it was.
Whoa.
I'm trying to make myself feel better, all right? It was 85, all right? It was 85.
Okay, forgot. Yeah, it's a new Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom. Was pretty much a place for Zelda trying to not pull a link, but does pull a link.
Well, someone's got to save Hyrule, and this time it's the princess herself. Well,
I'm trying.
So you're Zelda in this game.
You are finally Zelda in the Zelda games.
Wow,
blowing minds out here.
Yeah, but you don't traditionally fight like you do normally as Link. You fight using your copy wand or your try wand, I guess, and you use that to make pots, boxes, enemies. You make copies, and that's how you traverse the levels and beat the bosses with that. No, you're not really trying to fight the person, but you can because she does learn an ability to, I guess, essentially become Link for like a timer, like a time section. But at the end of the day, you're trying to outsmart them by if I put a bunch of this here, I get these guys that kill the enemies for me. Yeah, other than that, though, the couple things like I don't know if you guys talk about the smoothies. You guys talk about the smoothies.
The fact that we don't use them, that's about all we talked about. We don't use them.
Because there's a mechanic. Well, I don't know why they added the goofy Breath of the Wild mechanic in this game. It's like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because Zelda's pretty much invulnerable for the most part.
It's pretty hard to die if you stay with the story path.
If you fall on the cliff, you get burned, you get electrocuted, things like that. Sometimes you take damage, certain things, sometimes you don't, which is kind of weird because sometimes you take damage and sometimes you just get I guess paralyzed for a second, then you move on. There's no really falling down unless you do something really stupid, or like me, you fall into a hole. And of course, I think what Frank mentioned earlier about the map. The map's like a mishmash of all of them. It's a little bit from Link to the Past, and there's also a little bit of between
spoilers here.
Oh yeah, I guess you guys.
Some of us are working on other projects there, Miles. Not all of us have all day to play Zelda.
Yeah, but like map wise, it's like a mishmash. Certain elements are the same, certain are not. They're not. There's no exactly copy directly from Link to the Past.
That's nothing, but it's pretty loosely.
Yeah, it's pretty loosely here, there. There are a lot of homages. Homages. Yeah.
Homunculus.
English.
Close enough.
It works.
It works.
Full Metal. It's an anime reference.
Well, the downside, like Ray mentions, the problems in the game runs like shit. And especially if you try to copy a lot of enemies, and I reached a point here, and
so you get right at that frame rate,
and then it's kind of struggling, trying to hold it itself, and imagine just fire and any other thing going on screen at the same time. That FPS is dead.
But is it because they don't finish the game?
It's really the Switch is really out of date now.
Well, yeah, it's 10 years old now.
It's 8.
It's gonna be 8. It's 8-ish.
Yeah, it's going to be 8 soon.
9.
Yeah, because it came out in March.
Yeah, March. So yeah, it'll be it's roughly
I think
7.
It's 8 years.
Yeah,
which is crazy when, especially as 90s kids, you know what happened in 8 years in the 90s when it came to video games. We were on the Super Nintendo, they were on the 64. We got 3D game. So many things changed in 8 years, and yet we're still here rocking the first Nintendo Switch after all these years. And it's showing its age real bad because games just can't keep up with what's in the hardware there, and
that's to be honest, it kind of makes me worry about Mario Luigi, the next one, brothership,
right?
Because I feel like I'm going to run into the same problem yet again.
And this is Nintendo. If Nintendo can't figure it out, then no one could figure it out, which is very concerning.
Well, they know they're gonna sell no matter what,
and that's what it is. It's like, why fix something when we're gonna make money?
That's why sometimes Luffy and his pirates are
Here's read the Straw Hats are doing fine.
Yeah.
They've been selling since 1999, and they're still selling strong.
Yeah. They might say it might selling it forever. The rate we're going.
Yes, indeed. You decide what we're talking about. But overall, you still liking it. You like this first entry of Zelda.
I do like the fact it does change the way how you solve dungeons in that, because you don't do traditional, like, just go slash everything, right? You can't
kill all the enemies.
Even the way how you solve certain things, like, I can't get to that treasure chest or whatever. Well, just make a bridge over here, and then you can get to any treasure chest or anything like that easy if you keep. But the amount of creativity the game does in giving you how to go around
how to solve the puzzle,
it is unique, because it's kind of like, why don't we just make a Zelda dungeon maker or something like that?
My understanding is that was supposedly what this was going to be. Because if you remember in that Link's Awakening game, they had like teased the dungeon maker aspect in that game.
I remember.
And they were supposed to spin off this or that until that. But then I guess Nintendo finally got everyone's emails of like, wow, come no fucking Zelda in a Zelda game. And so I guess we got this, which is, I guess, pretty good. I guess better than not getting a Zelda game. And
the only issue is that one, there's too many things to copy.
Well, it definitely needs editing.
Because, like, I'm going to copy this pot. What is the pot going to do? It's going to just be a pot. There was no functionality for a lot of the enemies, things I copy. Because, like,
hey, I thrown that pot and took some damage, took out some enemies with that pot. That's a good pot right there. Don't you slander my pot.
But I guess there's a lot of mechanics and a lot of things like that. It's just like it's excess. Like
it's too much.
Certain enemies, like, you can follow the enemy, so now you can control the enemy follows you, or you follow the enemy. It's like, but you use a mechanic once every, like.
I haven't used the mechanic in a while.
If you're looking for a traditional Zelda game, it's like, that's kind of weird. You could go around the map and pretty much you go to places you're not really supposed to go to.
I guess my argument though is this is not a traditional Zelda game also.
Yeah. But I guess I don't know.
It does have a lot of the staples of the Zelda franchise.
I do like the fact the lore of Link is interesting, at least.
Right.
Like, I think, like Andy mentioned, like, the fact, like, he can't speak. There's a reason for him not speaking, or a reason, like, that you learn more about him through other NPCs and other, like, reading books or something around. Right. You learn more about Link as a character in this world. So that's interesting, but it also requires you have to look around. Say if you're like me, you're speed running through certain things like that. There, like you mentioned before, there's a lot. There needs to be a lot of editing. I feel like we kind of tossed everything in here,
right?
And it's like, it's cool, it's neat when it works. When it works the way it's supposed to work, it's fine. But there's so many things that you're copying for no reason, and there's a lot of items you're never going to really copy or use, really. And at the end of the day, it's still. It doesn't treat it as a Zelda game. It treats it kind of like it was like the Link's Awakening remake. You're playing a toy. You're not really. There's no real sense of being in a Zelda game. It's like a very my child's for Zelda. I don't know how to describe it.
It is kid friendlier more in basically than the other games I get. I mean,
like, heck, Zelda falls and there's no damage.
Right. It's pretty forgiving. Poor Miles, he wants the challenge.
I guess because back as a Zelda for like we were actually playing Princess Zelda, I was expecting a little bit more, because it kind of like brings me to the Princess Peach game I never talked about ago.
Oh, that definitely was a kid's game.
But that was like, yeah, I get it. You're like but look, see, you get certain demographic that likes this game, but we can't make the game too hard, because like, and I understand the game can't be too hard, but there has to be some set of challenge, or I'm not saying a challenge, but like. Some sense of like there's growth and achievement in this game, because like as long as you know how things to spawn, whatever, you could pull a Frank and go through the whole map, and I don't really have to do any of the quests or whatnot. But that's just my 2 cents.
I kind of get it though, because like I feel like kind of Pokemon games became the same thing.
That is definitely true.
they kind of dumbed them down too much. Or like I feel like they question like are you trying to get like a 4-year-old to play it?
Right.
4-year-old, kids are
kind of smart. Got to give them a little bit more credit than this.
Yeah, and
that's true.
So like, I mean, I just think they hold you by the hand too much, and we're the point where I know, like, as an adult, it's probably you can't not a comparison, but to some extent, it also gets a little like, I don't know, like you play some of these older games when you were kids, and they're like not as babied.
Right, true.
Well, it's like reminds me like when you talk about the Ace Attorney games, right? When like every game we go to the same mechanic, like here's this case we're going to do. Here's that case you forgot how to play the last game.
Right.
And it goes to the same tutorial. But I know this, right? Because I played all of them. Yeah, but you may not know from...
Yeah, this might be your first game, so you don't know how it works. So yeah, well, that's in general, but yeah, I guess in general, especially if you compare it to like, once again, the 80s, the early 90s, like you put the cartridge in the machine and you played the game and you figured out the game. Sure, there was a manual. No one fucking read the manual. You just turned it on, you figured out, oh, this does this and this does that. And oh, apparently that was the end of the level. Cool. So we need to do that 8 more times and boom, we beat the game. And while now these days it's like, did you hit the A button? Hit the A button.
Did you buy the
Good. You hit the A button.
Oh, you need a certain material to craft? Don't worry. For $10, you could buy the DLC to get the item for like like $1 or something like that.
That's one of another reasons why I didn't like Dragon Ball Fighter 2.
All the DLC?
Yeah.
It was a lot, but that's, like I said, no one wants to, here's the game, $60, $80, whatever the price tag can be, and we're done. It's always, all right, that gets you in the door. Now you want to stick around for the battle pass, the new characters, the new area of the map is now unlocked, your favorite new skins that you get your Christmas skin. What about the 4th of July?
The music, do you want the certain...
Yeah. Oh, here's the old anime tracks you're looking for. Here they are again.
Just like how they're going to get right soon with the Sonic and Shadow Generations. Like, oh, you want the Legacy Dreamcast skin? You got to buy it early.
You got to pre-order it over here. Well, no, you got to pre-order it over there. And all the bonus. It's welcome to the game industry where they do want a nickel and dime you. So that's true. This isn't Spice and Wolf when we're trying to get interest on loans to pay out another debt.
Poor Lawrence.
The transaction is in and out, and you go to in and out, you get your double, you give them the money, and out the fucking door you go. You're not going to knock on the door by asking for 50 cents because you got the extra lettuce or something.
I think like
it's done.
Like Frank, which is he would buy GameStop.
Yeah, he would buy the GameStop. Mm-hmm.
Was with it to buy and trade? Look how good they get, The
money. Poor Lawrence. He has terrible financial decisions sometimes.
Always listen to Wise Wolf. They know more than you do.
Spice and Wolf is interesting. I'll say that. Almost as interesting, unless Miles, we had any more Zelda talk.
No, that's pretty much my week.
No, that was yours. It sounded like it was yours, so I'm not sure. So back. You know what? Also be wise on to move on to our next topic, which is our summer anime 2024 review season, where we or the 3 that were responsible each get to choose a show, and we cover 3 shows, and that's what we're about to do here. And first up on our schedule here is the Elusive Samurai, which was originally chosen by Frank, but Frank couldn't join us this evening, so I guess I'm going to take over for Frank and introduce everyone to the Elusive Samurai. So the Elusive Samurai, to really summarize it, is a
Samurai that's elusive?
Well, there's the thank you, Miles. Thanks for the assist. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, then. And welcome and say goodbye to everyone. Say goodbye to Miles because he won't be joining us anymore. The Elusive Samurai is a historical samurai tale from ancient Japan,
allegedly,
that is loosely based on these actual historical events and people and characters. So the only thing that I could easily tell you, it's kind of like Rurouni Kenshin, but much older than Rurouni Kenshin. So in this story, they focus on a young boy who is part of the Hojo clan, which was part of the powerful shogunate in some part of Japan. There's too many regions in Japan. I can't remember all of them on the top of it. But basically, what's the shogun? For those who don't know, the shogun is basically the military power that basically rules over Japan, who may or may not take orders from the Japanese emperor. And at this time, the Japanese emperor was more of a figurehead, and it was really the Hojo clan that decided, this is what we're going to do with Japan. This is how the country's going to be run. We're number one, right? So in the beginning of the story, we meet the youngest heir to the Hojo clan, and he has a really bad day. Really, really bad day, because basically one of the people he thought was a family friend, and like I said, yeah, family friend is the way I would describe him. He overthrows his whole family and clan and takes over and kills them all, including his brother, his father, a lot of people he knew and grew up with. And then he sells out. He takes a nice cushy position to work with the emperor. All right, Miles, I need you to back up from the mic a little bit there.
Oh, demonstration. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, you're really getting into it.
Sorry.
Yeah, tell me more about these samurais. He's really into it. So yes, he gets betrayed. Everyone he knows is dead. But lucky for him, he gets saved by a priest who claims he can see the future, but he seems very odd and weird and out of place for the historical time period we find ourselves in this show. And so he's a bit of a weirdo and a mystery figure. And he shows up with another little girl who's, I guess, a shrine maiden, ? And basically save the little boy with the idea of like, you lose today, but we'll, come back in years and you'll become a great warrior. And if you look it up, sure enough, in history, this basically what happens to this character. My understanding is, but I didn't look too deeply into because I don't want to be spoiled on Elusive Samurai. So, and the person that betrayed the family, he was a real figure and a very, very popular figure, and it's a whole thing. And as a very dumb, ignorant American who doesn't know everything about Japanese history, the Meiji period and up, I'm pretty good about everything before that. I don't know. But yes, it is, like I said, it's a historical piece. He lives to see another day. And of course, it's the classic, hero's journey and the return to the king situation where he lost his kingdom, but he's going to level up, he's going to train, he's going to find other followers, retainers, I guess is the technical term.
His homies.
That will take up his cause, his flag, and fight and take back what he lost all those years ago, ? And so it's kind of like I said, coming the hero's tale, revenge a little bit here and there. It's Fire Emblem 1 with Marth, basically. So if you're familiar with Fire Emblem, have I got a show for you? But yes, that is the premise of Elusive Samurai. It's all about samurais. Who would have thunk? And I guess why it's the Elusive Samurai, real quick. So because he was kind of always like a spoiled brat and really didn't have to worry about like war and stuff, but he's only like 8 years old, so let's be a little fair. He's pretty young to have to worry about fighting and stuff. But sometimes people, they take that shit seriously, let's say. But he's always kind of lived a relaxed, kickback life, and he's always liked the thrill of like hide and go seek and running away. He's a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say. And so when he does fight, it always tends to be in a way he's always kind of running away and kind of like counter-attacking his enemies in a situation. So it's his own unique way of fighting. And as the show progresses, you kind of see him kind of master this unique fighting style. So yeah, that is the overall premise. It is based on a Shonen Jump title, so it does have a lot of action-packed stuff. So yeah, that's the premise, and now getting to first impressions early on. So the interesting thing off the bat to me is, well, as I mentioned, it's a very Shonen Jump battle samurai action series. It is also visually interesting because it's done by Cloverworks, and Cloverworks tends to do more artsy-fartsy, like comedy romance stuff. In particular, Kaguya-sama comes to mind because you get a lot of things they do in that show, they do also in this show, especially including the comedy beats in the show. So there's a lot of comedy going on in the show, despite there's all like this bloodshed and robbers killing people. Everything that happened back in those days is happening, but it's all kind of like quickly shown or winked at or talked about. But then, oh, look at he's making a silly, funny face. Oh, this priest guy sure is a weirdo, ain't he? Woo! So there's a little whiplash early on for this show because it's also very colorful because once again Cloverworks love their colors. But like I said, it's supposed to be more of an action serious show, so it's like a kind of like a dark comedy at times, a very colorful dark comedy, which is pretty ironic, I guess. Oxymoron maybe. But yeah, so early on, was my thoughts and concerns. Expectations I was confused because I remember Frank was trying to explain the show. Yeah. And I don't blame him because it's a lot of Japanese history that I don't think he understood, and I still don't understand myself, and I've seen the show now.
I think no one understood because it's even like, you had to know Japanese history to really get it. I guess.
And like I said,
we don't teach that over here.
I barely. I remember there was this guy named George Washington, and that's about it for American history. So yeah, that is a big key, I guess, that may lead into your enjoyment of the show. But yeah, the animation also is really pretty period and generic. A lot of frames, a lot of smooth animation. He is running and dodging and does some silly, crazy, over-the-top movements. So if you're looking for that sweet action animation, the show does deliver that on this front as well. So that was good to see early on. But beyond that, that was my first early impressions, where it's interesting and different. And I am curious to see how I'm going. As a conversation, I'm still on the fence maybe a little bit about this show, but we'll see. We'll get into it a little bit. But let's go to Ivan. Ivan, what was your early thoughts and any expectations of any about the Elusive Samurai?
I don't know. I think overall I enjoyed it. So I think just kind of getting into that off the bat. It's a little interesting because how you said it can be pretty dark, and then it's like comedy dark, and then pretty gruesome at sometimes.
Right.
Too. So I think mentally it's kind of hard word to classify it, but it's definitely not a show you can watch around other kids.
No, this is definitely not for the kiddies. Despite it's a Shonen Jump property, I would not recommend this anime to the youngsters in your house.
Yeah, I guess that's what kind of threw me off, and I did mention it to Frank that because the characters are really young, and I know you have like Naruto, but these are younger kids.
Naruto's like 12 or 13ish.
Yeah.
These kids are like maybe 10, maybe.
Yeah, I think the main character is 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think when it starts off.
So they're children, like
They're quite literally children,
Yeah.
legally binding children.
Yeah, so like and then the way they behave, the way they move, it's like, children, and then you have like these conflicts, and so it was hard to kind of wrap around it, or really indulge in the story, because I just ultimately see them like almost like they didn't fit in. That's how I felt, like their ages didn't fit in for like the story. So, but if it's like, I mean, historically accurate, I mean, I guess what can I say? But I feel like
Kids were built different back then.
yeah. But if they were like, I guess I felt like if they were like more like teens, or like 16, some of like their conversations, I feel like would have made a lot more sense. But like, when you have like a 9-year-old and like talking like a general, it's like, I don't know about that. Don't you need it to go take your nap?
Yeah, that's true. Yes, the last remaining of the member characters, he's quite the scholar, let's say.
Yeah, so it's like, but I feel overall I enjoyed it more than I didn't. So
All right. And Miles, what about you? What was your early thoughts, feelings, opinions about this one?
Well, knowing Cloverworks style, most of it made sense in terms of color. We have a lot of very smooth motion animation going on. Even open itself, like they're not, there's no skipping on budget. They're doing full transitions. There's movement. A lot of animation per se. The problem is half the time when you're trying to pay attention to the comedy bits, and then, like you mentioned before, and then all of a sudden, people are getting beheaded. Oh, okay.
Whoa, things escalate quickly.
Like, especially like the first episode where it's like all fun. Look at him, like he's being a silly child, right? Through all young master will someday learn to be, and he's gonna learn right now. Okay.
Life comes at you fast.
But it is weird because they weren't afraid to talk about certain topics, just like you said, briefly, but the fact that they mention it all in a Shonen Jump title itself, slave kids, kill the parents.
A little enslavement, it's fine.
Yeah, that
it gets heavy sometimes.
Yeah,
if you stop and think about it, but the show tries its best. Like, no, it's fine. I'm like, is it though?
Yeah, I guess
taking people out so that way I can become shogunate, whatever.
I want to become shogunate.
Like things, but it's weird because like it's always contrasting with the way the color, the presentation of what's going on screen,
right?
And for every moment you get like, oh my gosh, that's kind of bloody. You get, look how silly they are. Look at the kids, they're being kids.
Oh, kids.
And it's just like it can be very jarring,
right?
And obviously I think that's probably, according to the historical factor we know now, that's probably the case.
Were they really that young?
That I didn't look up, but I know you guys remember back in the day, like, what did you live up to? Like, maybe if you're lucky to your 50s, and that's like really lucky, so more like late 30s, early 40s, right? So literally life does come at you fast, so I guess get good quick because there's no time to delay.
Yeah.
For being a Shonen Jump title, it is a lot of stuff you have to kind of know in advance. I feel like if you don't understand the concept of that start the show, being of course a Westerner,
right, and this show does not hold your hand.
Yeah, there is no.
It assumes you know this history, and I'm like, nope.
It's unique plan to try and be like dark comedy, but at the same time, but like, oh no, his head got chopped off. Here's his head.
He's still dead.
I will lift his head up right now because we usually collect, I guess, has as trophies to bring back to their bosses and say, look what I did, man. Look, I got this guy.
Got him.
This guy.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like, it was hard to like the tone, the colors. They didn't feel like it matched the story.
Right.
So I feel like they did their best to like almost like try to like
soften the blow. Yeah, that's the way.
But some scenes were really
intense.
Yes,
and it's like I said, definitely would not show. Despite you might look, especially right now, if you watch the opening and ending, do not believe these lies. It's completely different. The ending, I'll get into, I guess, a more spoiler part about particularly the ending that kind of drives me insane. I don't really care for, but I get it. Don't get it, but I don't like it anyway. But yes, any more thoughts from you, Miles, before we jump into recommendations and spoiler talk.
No, I think the rest of it we have to get into spoilers because it's a lot.
Alrighty then. All right, so quickly before we jump into the spoilers, I basically would we recommend it, and then if we would recommend it, who we recommend it for. And I guess I'll start off the bat. On a personal level, I kind of would not recommend this show. And the big reason for it, as we already hinted at here already, gentlemen, is the fact of the whiplash between the comedy and then the more intense, samurai period stuff with everyone being beheaded, people getting chopped in half, and all the bloody gruesomeness that can happen in the show. I could not really wrap my head around this idea and concept. I liked the idea that they're swinging for the fences and they're trying to do something unique and different, which they definitely are, because like I said, I didn't know it was a Shonen Jump property, because after a while you kind of see like, oh, this must be a Shonen Jump title. It does this thing and this and looks like this, and you kind of see it before and you kind of know how it's going to go. So this is different, and different is usually good. But like I said, on a personal level, I just couldn't really get too attached to it. And so, yeah. And the other thing is just like, there are several situations where they put like children in harm's way, which just always irks me the wrong way. And I guess it's one of those things, I guess maybe as I get older, I'm a little bit more sensitive to it apparently now. Because I also remember having a similar issue, slightly different reasons, but a similar issue in like, Made in the Abyss, where they would put children in these bad situations that I didn't care for, and you get a little bit of that in this thing as well. So for that reason, I would not be able to recommend it. For those who I would recommend the show to is if you're a big samurai historical buff, it checks all those boxes. Right. I imagine, like for us, or at least definitely for me, I'm ignorant to all these like famous, for us Americans, be like, oh, it's George Washington and Teddy Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln. Every famous American shows up and does a little cameo, like Assassin's Creed style or something like that. Is the other thing I could think comparison. Which I can enjoy those things with like a historical twist, kind of like Kenshin, because Kenshin is also loosely based on historical characters and events. But so yeah, if you're a person who likes those kinds of things and you want to see great animation and a unique art style that, like I said, is maybe a little out there. But if you want, if you find yourself as a fancy anime connoisseur like myself sometimes, there is some uniqueness in the show that I have not seen anywhere else. So those would be the people I would recommend checking out the Elusive Samurai. And I'll pass it all back over to Ivan. Ivan, what do you think? How do you feel?
I think I feel the same. Like someone says, I like samurais. Like, hey, you'll probably like the show. How do you
like to be elusive? How do you feel about elusiveness?
But just like as an overall general recommendation, I don't see myself recommending it.
And Miles, what about you?
I guess it's been Ivan, no more.
Ivan, sweet to the point.
To me, I feel like I think the justification we talked about for 3 times now. The fact that children evolve, they're not afraid to tell you what they do to the children. So it is fascinating considering it's a Shonen Jump title. They allow that's still in here. You would think they kind of soften it a little bit or try to
right.
shonen it so that way it's more
shonen boy, young children. I guess they didn't get the translation of note apparently.
Because there are a lot of things like, wow, we're doing this in a shonen title. Well, okay, granted, like Kenshin, right? Kenshin, you argue skew more to more older readers, right?
Right.
But I guess for people who like enjoy good animation, because this does a lot of good animation, pretty much like 90% of the run, minus the CG parts here and there.
Yeah, there's a little 1-2 rough patches there.
But for the most part, the arrows are moving around. Though our main protagonist is moving around, and he's doing his best Sonic impression sometimes.
A little bit. He's seen Dragon Ball, I think.
I don't know, and the fact that the camera wasn't afraid to move around and they used to do a lot of unique things that Cloverworks does that most other traditional Studio Para or anyone else was trying to animate Shonen Jump titles. They're doing something different than those other ones. That being said, it probably is too much for even for like 15-year-olds. I feel like it scores more to more older people that you understand that this is a terrible time. Granted, all the colorfulness and all the shenanigans going on, but this was a dark period. I'm assuming a dark period of time in Japanese history.
Didn't look great.
And also you need to be familiar, like what is Japan, how the system works, things like that. Because I feel like you don't know that. So what's this guy different than this guy? Isn't he the same guy?
Yeah, especially when because they're all shogunates. Like, oh, shogunate. What do you mean? How many generals can there be in this army?
So there's a lord. He's a lord, but now I'm a lord.
He's a super lord.
Am I a lord from this lord? I mean,
Mini lord.
there is no, like you mentioned before, there's no explanation. So you're like, I guess I go with him now because
he looks tough.
You know.
So I take that as I don't think you ever said yes or no, but it sounded like a no, basically, recommendation wise.
I guess no for. I guess I wouldn't recommend it to people unless you want to see animation. You have to understand like this is the subject material. It's not for the kids. I guess it's really sort of more toward younger, or sorry, older people. I guess, so you have to understand that this was a terrible time in history, and like all the cover this kind of thing tries to cover away from the gruesomeness. I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess that's where we're at now. It's spoiler talk. I guess the first thing I will point out, and one of the reasons why I kept thinking about it, kept driving me more insane and I guess a little bit more uncomfortable, I personally thought, is in particular, as I mentioned earlier, the ending depicts all the protagonists, their heroes, and all the villains having like a fun, good time, which I just found baffling considering we see the crimes they commit in the series. And I'm like, why are we making these guys look like, my silly crazy uncle who killed my actual brother? Like, oh, crazy uncle, you're so silly. And I'm like, what the fuck? I found it very like this seems a little unhealthy. Like this is like,
but the song's banger though.
There you go. It's almost like it like this is me a little overthinking perhaps, but to me it's like someone's internal brain trying to rewrite history to justify like my uncle would never actually kill my actual brother. He would never do that. We're all happy to get on this bus singing a silly song because in reality it's too hard and I don't accept reality right now. It's like it's just one of those like I'm thinking maybe a little too much about it, but the more I thought, I'm like it does seem like that could be the case. It seems really bad.
The opening 2 is a little more jarring as well because look,
we're all gathering together for a good cause.
It tries to be. It's kind of like watching Naruto, but what if actually someone people actually die? Well, okay, people did die though.
Right, and that's the problem I was going to mention.
But it tries to think it's believable, but people actually died.
Yeah, and that's the thing, as I was going to mention next, is that the fact, because it is loosely based on historical facts, and we know these people did all these things and are responsible for all this, massive murder and everything else once again in between. I somehow, because I have the sense of like, it happened, it's real, it kind of, makes it a little bit more heavier and darker versus like, Ichigo's fighting this demon in Bleach or something, or whatever monster of the week variant in this anime, because it's more, fantasy based or not, set in our own world. Somehow if it does get violent or something like that, I'm kind of could look the other way or it doesn't bother me as much. And then also in particular, I think Ivan mentioned is because of they're actually children, not like at least teenagers or something where you could say stuff, well, yeah, maybe when I was an age, I got into a little bit of trouble myself, this and that. But like, they're like children. And as I mentioned before, anything where if they look like they're 10 years or younger and they're in like harm's way, I'm like, oh no, my goodness gracious.
The children.
Yeah, apparently I start to think that way. And like I said, I think that more and more the older I get, I don't know. I mean,
well, I think what kind of bothered me about that was like, since we're in spoilers, like the final arc, where they were running away and it wasn't the main character. What was the name of the other kid? The Killua kid? Right away.
Oh, the little things on his hair, the side of his head.
He's like, basically, I see him like it was like going and Killua.
yeah. I guess I can see that.
But I guess that's the part where I couldn't like wrap my head around because it's like he was fighting like this 40-year-old man, like, and then he's like this 10-year-old kid, and it's just like. This is what I was telling Frank. Like strength wise, like you need to add like some superpower element or something like that because just like it's just never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
If it really happened in real life and historically, I would be like, wow, that's pretty amazing. But realistically,
probably not likely.
No 10-year-old is gonna beat a 40-year-old man in a
especially one that's been working out.
And I guess even that a 10-year-old death to the fight to the death,
right?
And it's like so like unsettling, like,
a little bit
because like I know we have like kind of like Goku and Naruto and whatever,
right?
I think you've mentioned this before that you felt like Hunter x Hunter kind of like crossed the line. I feel this one did it even more.
It found a line, crossed it,
and then forgot there was a line,
smudged around it, kind of like spit and like
so I
move that line around
because I felt like Hunter x Hunter almost wanted you to make you uncomfortable, but this one is like really like no, like you're children and you're basically like this is a world and it's like
right,
it's like gruesome and all this. So but just like the strength wise was where I couldn't like really wrap around my head.
It also gets a little confusing when if you think about it.
And because once again, things you said in the past, like Demon Slayer, you felt like, oh, there was like no, like it just kind of started. So like they just can't tell. These guys are really good at what they do. Like the retainers, like the main guys, people.
Right.
And the power levels or like their skills, like it's just like you just have to kind of take it face value. Oh, apparently like they're
good.
They're good.
Right.
But even though they're like 10.
Right. Because he says they're good, so they must be good.
So it's once again, if they were like 18, 16, like Kenshin, he was a young teenager when he went out to the war.
Right.
So, but he had already, you were told he had been training for like,
pretty much his whole childhood or later part of childhood, for sure.
And then that's something you do see in real life. You see like these young,
right, they're literally
players that
they're groomed to be.
They're groomed to be like these very well at their thing, but they're literally in their like when they're supposed to be learning,
right? And
they're already like fighting to the death. So I felt like that's a part where I just couldn't get around.
Right? Yeah, I could feel you.
So I mean, but it still had some moments where like. Sometimes like the comedy will get to me, like especially when it did like jokes about like nowadays and like back then. I think one of them was like, oh, this was our form of like Instagram, or it was some kind of like social media joke before we did this, or there was some jokes that make me laugh. But I one thing that from hearing both of you, I also kind of wish I would have done more like a Berserk type of thing, where like Berserk, the original '96 anime. They really toned down the manga like dramatically. And I think you've said this once again in the past. Sometimes you don't need to show it. Right. You can just imply it, and that's enough.
Exactly.
For you to be like, ooh, but like this,
they show you the heads and the sword and a lot of maybe not 100%, but like more than they need to.
Yeah, like that scene where he was just cutting heads. Like, Like the
blood. The
main bad guy.
The main bad. He just literally kills like the whole village basically.
Yeah, and he's just cutting heads, and that was probably a very uncomfortable scene.
Yeah.
And then he's like laughing. I don't know. It was kind of an unsettling show.
Yeah, it was, and it's funny because usually I don't usually get like affected by like over the top violence like that. If you put a teenager or an adult, I'm totally fine with it. You put a child, whoa, easy there, buddy. What the fuck are you thinking? I'm starting to realize apparently I do have a line when it comes to that.
That's too young. You gotta wait till you're 12-year-old.
You gotta wait till you're 13, and then you could go out and have your own crazy epic journey full of violence. And then I'll look forward to that every week.
Ash was 10, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Right? That's how that works. Like you wait till you're 10, and then
off you are. You're an adult now, Ash. Go catch him all.
That's pretty young when you think about it too.
It's pretty intense. That's your job now. You're just a Pokemon trainer. Wow, okay, at 10 years old, wonderful.
Travel the world by yourself.
How are you gonna pay the bills? Don't worry, you'll figure it out on the way. Here's Pikachu. Pika.
Another thing too, and maybe this is once again thinking as an adult, but like sometimes like they're written as children, but just the way they're talking and communicating, no child will be able to talk like that.
Yeah, it's one of those like it bothers me a little bit, but I guess I'm trying my best to be like, oh well, they especially with the retainers, they're like, oh well, they were trained to be super soldiers, so maybe they they taught them at a really young age, as soon as they could stand and hold a spear or a sword, there they go. But yeah, they're very smart for children, let's put it that way. Yeah. So yeah,
anime always tends to do that, but this time I feel like they went too young.
Right, it is a little too young, and as you mentioned a little bit, the inconsistency of like the power levels, because the other thing that kept driving me insane a little bit was they implied that the female retainer, I forget all the characters' names, but the one who's usually in the red, who's like the fighter, not the priestess.
I called her what's her name from Inuyasha? Kikyo.
Oh, oh yeah, all right, okay. It took me a second to be like, why? Oh, yeah, right. I'm like, well, she's not dead.
Yeah,
so
Killua, Kikyo.
There you go.
She had the same outfit.
Right, she definitely, I was gonna say, oh, you mean the outfit? Yes, she does. But anyway, in the early part, they show that like she has like supposedly like crazy strength, right? For a little on her gender and age. But then half the time when she's fighting regular men, earlier she was able to like do things that most regular men couldn't even do, but now she can't beat them when it just comes to a physical strength match. So it's a little bit like, wait a minute, you just showed me she could do all these things, and now when it comes to the fight, she's not able to push this regular Joe to the side so easily.
Typical show.
And it's like one of those like, oh, and of course it's the female character again that's getting the short on the straw. Whenever I've seen that, also it is a shonen jump time. I know this.
Let me get the box. Check.
There it is. So yeah, that was one of the things that was also in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, pick a lane. Is it this way or that way?
See, there are characters. See, she can't fight. She can't fight well as everyone else can.
At least they gave her a sword, so progress. Yay! More than Sakura ever did. It's always time to dump her under the bus one more time.
Boom, boom.
I'm trying to think.
She just have a good scream though when she goes Naruto, and
that's the one thing she is good at, screaming out.
One of the most iconic themes.
She's got it. She's got that down. She had a lot of practice getting that down, at least, because she wasn't doing any fighting. Oh my goodness. But yes, Elusive Samurai. Little too much, wiping your hands clean of all that blood that keep pouring on their hands.
And literally pouring all everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there was, especially that one scene where the Lord was fighting the general and he just cut him on his wrist.
Oh, the room.
And then also, and I was like, it's like, whoa.
That was quite the bloodbath by the end of that fight. Let me tell you.
Yeah. You definitely have to be ready for blood if you're watching this show.
Yes, that's the other thing. You have to you can't be a little squeamish because it's not like crazy violent, but it's more, once again, if you see the opening, it's a lot more worse than that, for sure.
It's because some shows are good at like making you uncomfortable. I guess that's the best part.
Right, true.
I feel like this show is good at that.
Yes, that is true.
It can make you uncomfortable because like, I don't know, it's just like the idea is like that when, what's the name of the main character?
Tokiyuki?
I call him.
Yeah, that's right. Tokiyuki?
Oh, I call him Gon. So
there's no green though. No green.
That fight, he was, once again, this is a 9-year-old.
Right.
They trapped the general in this small room.
Big old mammoth of a man.
This 40-year-old man, 30-year-old man.
With armor and everything.
And then again, this 9-year-old battled to the death.
Yeah, battle to the death. There you go.
Whatever. And that's the show. I mean, like,
it seems a little unfair, perhaps.
But, and I guess that's another thing I don't understand. Do they have powers or they don't?
They do when they need to. Apparently, there's a little Shonen Jump magic happening every so often.
The eyes bulging and the ants.
Oh yes, the villains of the week and their weird superpowers.
I kind of did like them though.
It was one of those it was like if the show was a little bit more shonen-y as we're used to our shonens to be. I feel like, I did kind of like it because it's on the nose, but like it's perfect for like a kid's shonen jump where, especially between like the guy with the super eyes, the guy with the super hearing, where they're kind of like, why does he talk to me like that? Why is he so casual with me? I don't know this guy. Why is he acting so casual? Yeah. It's just like little silly scenes like that, which, I found funny. And then the little quirks of like, they're really exaggerating their super hearing or super eyesight. And, especially the guy with the eyes, they're always drawing him where he's like literally talking to people's faces. His eyes are like bulging out like 2 inches from his skull. So it's very over the top and visually silly, which I do like. But then here comes the children of the beheading and you're like, oh, it sours the mood. Every time you kind of get into it, it's like, oh, I thought that, but I didn't say that. But the idea of like, I wish it did show less because it's unnecessary. And that way we could keep the flow and the silliness and a little bit more lightheartedness of this overall, because it's going to be a bloody story because it's, samurais and warriors overthrowing the government. So people are going to have to die to make this happen. But do we have to be that much detailed and that gruesome?
Yeah, because
he died. Look at the corner. Yeah,
he's dead. There's no...
Because in a way, Inuyasha kind of did that.
Yeah, it's true.
If you think about it, like, they would, like, because things would happen in the show, but it was always, like, either, like, they just said it, that it happened, and then they would just kind of show, like, remember when, the young brother, what's her name?
Sango.
Her brother, and then they killed the whole
Kohaku?
Yeah. So
why do I remember that?
Yeah, remember how they did that scene, though? They kind of do, like, that, like, the colors, like, all the bodies are like black,
right?
And they just go whoosh, and it implies it, but it doesn't show it,
right? Exactly.
It doesn't show like the dead,
like here's the skull being cut in half, and here's the neck, and here's the sword into the neck.
Yeah, so it just kind of like it implies it heavily, but it's not like showing the details.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Miles, how about you? I feel like you've been a little. Any spoilers you feeling you need to get off your chest? Let it out now.
No, well, see, the problem is, I think we all agree with the show, is that it isn't. Is it a shonen title or is it a seinen title? Is it like I'm supposed to like look at the fun times. Look at we're trying to overthrow bring the government back. Yay! Meanwhile, death, destruction, horses getting killed, people getting killed, beheaded.
Those poor dogs.
All the bodies died. No, all the bodies piled up from death. We literally sliced people left and right. And here comes that lucky plucky trio trying to go through and trying to make
that wacky priest.
I am laughing though at the one guy, the one that like, oh, the samurais were like, oh, we all want to die, and then the guy in the front didn't want to die, and then he's like, but he did want to die, and then there's a scene where he's like chopping someone up. It's so stupid.
I missed this part. Or I remember it.
Those samurais at the end, that last little arc.
Oh, I see.
And then so he didn't know him by name, so he said, "You with the rectangle face." And no, I have like circles here.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
Are you with the bald? No, I have a little bit of hair.
Right,
here.
right.
And then there was this one guy that had like this really nice face, but then he would like I guess chop people up.
Right.
He's like, I want to eat them all, or like I don't know. It's just. So some of the jokes did make me laugh,
Right.
but once again, they're all very still a little uncomfortable.
A little bit, yeah. Definitely, like I said, dark comedy. They check that box for sure in this one. But it does, like I said, I did find myself laughing every so often as well. I think that's about it.
I guess before we end, did you like the main character that he would like have fun during those death battles? Did you?
I at first I was kind of like I didn't really like it, but when I took it in the context of like, but isn't that somewhat of a similar feeling for the gambler, right? You don't know what's gonna happen. You're gonna put some money on the line and see what happens, and you don't know what's gonna happen. But that little moment of that hesitation, will it or won't it, gets you that little like kick, that little high, right?
Yeah.
So I guess when I think about it like that, I was kind of like, oh, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. It was interesting.
Yeah, and like it did give him a little personality of like he likes what his back against the wall, just like the Dodger.
Yeah.
All right, so that will conclude the Elusive Samurai, and now we'll move on to our next anime pick, and we'll go to Miles, and we'll take a look at Pseudo Harem. So Miles, take it away.
So Pseudo Harem very much is a story about one girl, Rin, who wants to go. Oh, she's an actress, so she wants to join her high school drama club to be an actress. I guess you say starts having a crush on one of the prop makers, which is her senpai, I guess. So she always trying to win his favor, and he always overturned. He kind of hears we need to have a harem of girls. No, typical teenager, right? To say the weirdest things out there. And so she creates she acts out his harem different types of girls, I guess, per se.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile she gets better at acting. They kind of grow up trying to know about each other's personality of that, and see how relationship blooms on the stage.
There you go.
So my first impressions is awesome. I do like that for being how certain moments it looks very low budget, which we get spoilers. It is no Elusive Samurai. There's not Clovers and some.
No.
But I think what it is reminds me of Reliana. Is I think the voice acting here is pretty damn good, and the way how because especially the main heroine, she does pretty well playing different types of girls, and the way how she presents when she's acting, or how her her emotions and that going through each of these, and and I mean he's good too because there are a lot of more nuances. There are a lot of they play really well off each other, and the show's pretty much about them, a relationship really. I mean, you'll see a couple of characters here and there, like their best friends or their buddies that they work with, things like that. But it's mostly about their relationship, pretty much at the end of the day.
Okay, and this is for your expectation wise, you've read the manga now before this?
I've seen images on the internet. I do know of it beforehand. But I think I want to say it's a web manga or something like that.
And so you haven't read it?
No.
Animated. Miles hasn't read the manga for.
Not a true fan.
Wow, fake fan out here. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Well,
disappointed.
Disappointed.
Podcast first here. Poor Miles is losing his game.
Well, you can't. Okay. All right. Okay. The problem here is that for one, I'm surprised that. Well, I mean, probably because eventually, the ones I pick usually do eventually come over here. The manga wise.
Alrighty then.
I can smell a winner.
So sounds pretty overall, very excited and very good overall. Ivan, how about you? What about early impressions, any expectations, all that good stuff?
It was okay. I've said this before in the past, and so it's not anything against the show or not, but like this style, like specific style, when it's like those shows that have like almost no drama, tend to be like I'm not gonna say I don't like them, but let's say I'm gonna get like one of like a slice of life that's more like that telenovela style, where it's like oh, he's trying to take my man and all that. I seem to get a little bit more Rockmore with those than the ones where everything's like pretty smooth.
Everything's fine. No problems here.
So Rumbly Heart's first person. Got it.
Yeah. Like everything's smooth. So a show like this one or like a manga like this one, it's like positive.
Right.
And then so
nothing but good vibes out here.
Nothing but like
no trauma. No one's stubbing a toe. You didn't lose the lotto ticket. Yeah. Everyone's like, hey, I paid $5 and I got $5 for that chicken sandwich. It was good enough.
Yeah, so that's one of the things they always like, kind of the way they describe these shows, like very sweet, very like and like that. And so yeah, so I mean I enjoyed it, but if it's like the ones that have a little bit more drama, I tend to get a little bit more invested in.
Okay, likes that little. I tend to agree overall. I do like the little bit drama myself, so I understand where you're coming from, Ivan. For myself, surprisingly enough, I guess expectation wise, I've actually read some of this manga way back in the day. I don't know how. I want to say it was an app where I read a couple other series at the time. It was one of the. I remember what it was called. It was like Manga Box or like the most generic name.
I read a bunch of them out there.
And I forgot about it until I started watching the show. I'm like, wait a minute, this is awfully familiar to me. And I remember liking it, but I remember it was one of the ones where, well, for one, I was still reading weekly manga, which I have not done in a very long time, so how old this and long ago this was. And so I kind of had good expectations, I guess, once I remember that, because I remember liking this show. So there's, I guess, a full disclosure there on the podcast. But I didn't remember the ending, or I don't remember finishing it. I just remember starting and thinking like, oh, that's a cute little series. But yes, early on, it's cute and charming. It is, Miles pointed out, is the two of the characters basically just talking, interacting with each other. And it feels pretty authentic when it comes to, two high schoolers trying to learn about each other. And they kind of know or have a pretty good feeling that probably each one's into each other and kind of testing the grounds a little bit. And with this joke and this line, and you see that throughout the time where he's like, oh, if only Cool-chan was here, what would she say? And then she plays a little Cool-chan and he goes, oh my goodness gracious. And he freaks out because he's just a big old dork. And, that's the main thing. And she's also for acting. And it's kind of interesting because you see the voice actor is also very popular. I forget the actress's name, but she plays like Yor in Spy Family, and she plays a bunch of other pretty big characters like that. It's almost amazing they got a pretty big voice actress to work on this show, considering it's not done by a famous studio. It's not the most well animated show of the season, I don't think. So I'm impressed they're able to get people to come play in. And the main lead is also the guy who plays Captain America and Demon Slayer. Captain America, Mr. Shotgun, the true patriot. Inside joke for podcast. Let's go back to our Demon Slayer
the Shotgun,
season 4 review to get the joke.
We said freedom breathing.
He's freedom style. Exactly. So it's funny because I realized, it's the same actor, because when he gets more extreme, you can hear that same voice. And so I was waiting for him to pull out his own shot-off shotgun, but damn, it didn't happen. Curses. But yes, like I said, it was kind of neat to recognize the voice action, the talent. And it is pretty good, top-notch stuff, which it has to be because it's about acting and, how, even if it's just being silly, little story beats, it's important that we get that and feel that. So yeah, there's that was a concern early on. But the other concern early on was, is it good enough to keep you going for the 12, 13 episode run that became of it? And without getting into too many spoilers, I will say, if you stick with it, it does exceed the boundaries when it comes to this typical storytelling and genre, if you will, of comedy romances. It does kind of break the loop a little bit. So if you stick with it, you'll get rewarded, I feel like, towards the end. So I'll give people a little motivation in case they're a little nervous about this show early on and they're into comedy romances. But yeah, that was where, I guess, my expectations and early thoughts about this one.
I actually know something about that, but I'll say that in the spoilers.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. All right, Miles, back to you. But I guess you sound pretty confident and positive. So yeah. It sounds like you would recommend it to.
I recommend everybody. For the
and
dog,
I was going to say, if you can hear my voice,
if you want fluff, if you want to feel like good light in the end of the tunnel, you watch the show. Yeah, sure, yeah, like Ray mentioned, yeah, it may not be important, but screw it. You're here for the commentary. You're listening to hear everyone play off each other, and now it's kind of like its own kind of a stage play in a certain way, in certain aspects.
A little bit.
It had its moments. Yeah, that's the way I would describe it. It had its moments. And
I do like the fact that Rin's she has every ready to go. When she wants to play a certain character, she has she's ready to go and try to change her hair, things like that.
She's dedicated to the bit.
And then she keeps it with her. So like when the bit happens, she's ready for the bit at all times. But overall, there's a lot of character growth and a lot of things like that. So you know what? It's a good rendition if you like character growth and you like good dialogue and you like good characters. The animations, of course, but it's it's no Cloverworks.
Yes, definitely not. Maybe for the best after our review of the Elusive Samurai. Alrighty, Ivan, how are we feeling? What are we? Thumbs up, thumbs down, and who, if anyone, is it for?
I feel like I'll recommend it to like people that like the genre. That's how I feel like. So would I recommend it to Richard? Probably not.
Probably not. No, I concur with that thought.
Like,
yes.
Let's say I would tell Miles, hey, have you seen this show? Like I would think because it's a very safe show.
True.
Even for the genre, it's very safe.
Nice and cozy, perhaps. Maybe a little too cozy sometimes, it feels like. But if you like cozy, we got cozy in Pseudo Harem.
Cozy up in here.
Indeed. For me,
join.
Yes.
Join us.
A little bit more closer to Ivan versus Miles's overall recommendation. But I would recommend it to people who are fans of the comedy romance genre because I did find it funny, maybe not hysterical, but funny enough. Like I said, the dialogue is pretty sharply written sometimes, and them being silly and bouncing off each other was cute and worked for me, and keep it lighthearted but entertaining enough to keep watching. So if you have patience is key. You don't need to have gorgeous animation in your eyeballs 24/7. That's kind of a key to find the shows to be good or worth your time, I feel like. But if you want to see like slow but steady character growth and progress, especially when it comes to romantic relationship, which a lot of comedy romances we never do because the climax of the show is I like you, me too. That's it. Roll credits. We're done.
450 chapters.
Yes, but we get a little bit more in this show. I won't say too much more than that. For spoiler talk, but because it does actually, like I said, break that rule, that convention, that's why I would check people who are fans of the comedy romance genre to add this one on the list. I think it'll be rewarded with a Pseudo Harem. So that would be my recommendation and guidelines for that one. So now we're moving on to spoiler talk. But I'm going to change it up. And I'm going to go to Ivan. Ivan, anything on spoiler talk on this one you want to...
Yeah, so...
spoiler talk is funny.
So whenever like I see a show, sometimes I check out if it has a manga or not. So actually this show had a bit of a controversy because it technically ended. Hopefully I'm not getting this wrong. With them spoilers, once again spoilers,
right, we're in spoiler section. So
they meet in high school, they become friends and clearly they're into each other, and then so at the end of the show they get married. But that's not how it originally had happened. How it originally happened was, do you remember how she's like, I choose to be an actor, and then they kind of split up? Right, that's how I guess it technically ended. People were furious. Right, there's no happy ending here. They were furious. They were like furious, and then they made the other chapter where like they met up again, epilogue, and then they get married, and then people are like, okay, now we're good. So that's funny. That's why in the anime it was funny to me because remember how after the high school they showed that scene. They're like, 10 years, and they said we're married already, but they hadn't shown it. Right? Do you know what I'm talking about? I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like they were doing it because, hey guys, don't get mad. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I swear. They are married or whatever. Right. So that's why they were. We'll get the happy ending. They were kind of doing that flashback. So I did think that was pretty funny how they did that, because I did kind of read up on it because people were mad. I could see that, especially if you really want that ending. Because I know a lot of people. I don't necessarily need it, but I get it. Especially if you get really attached to it and you don't get it. You're like, yeah. Another thing I will say though, and I was kind of thinking about this because you guys were talking about production. Some of these shows, I feel like the production can either make it or break it. And obviously, this is an unfair comparison because this is one of my favorites. So the Kimi no Todoroki, the very first episode, I always feel that's one of the prettiest episodes I've seen, like in anime, like overall. Like some of like the scenes, the anime. Do you remember the scene where said no, it's a misunderstanding, and then she was like really sad and she was crying, and then the way they kind of animated it, and like they had like the cherry blossoms, it's like a really, really well animated, pretty scene. And I felt like this show, when those scenes were happening, it kind of like you felt like they were like the production tried to like increase it, but it wasn't like a big jump. Right. Yeah. It was just like a little bit more. A little, cranked it up. So I feel like there was moments like, oh, here's that scene.
Right. Here's the big moment.
But it was like
A little bit nicer.
So I feel like it would have been nice if it did have a bit more of like production value.
Right.
So
a few more dollars.
So you could have gotten like really like juice up those scenes. I feel like that's probably my not complaint, but like you can tell when a show like these shows rely so much on like that type of animation.
True.
Because if that doesn't come through, then you understand it, but sometimes like the manga just ends up being so much better because in the manga I feel like you can kind of feel through it a little bit more because
right.
like, the
you
way
can fill in the gaps.
the way it's drawn, you know, the way like they add the space and all that. And I think if you don't portray that in anime, like if you don't animate it correctly, you can kind of like not get the importance of like the moment. So and I feel like the show did have like a couple of important moments, but once again, it wasn't like a big jump. Like when they decided to call each other's in the name, each other's name,
right?
That was a big moment. But the production was just slightly better.
Yeah, just a little. Would be nice to see a little bit more. I get you. I definitely get you. All right, Miles, back to you, brother. What's on top of our heads?
It's overall, it's just to me, it's just fun. You know, it's
a good time.
It's something I because unfortunately we gained through some of the other shows we covered and what we'll probably cover in the next.
This is definitely the simplest show out of our 3 choices this season for sure.
This is a nice good palate cleanser after you, especially the next show we talk about later on. Everyone's having fun. There's no drama, no stakes, but we are learning, growing, and you're mostly there to listen to the two characters interact with each other. There's a lot of back and forth play, kind of a lot like them trying to figure out like what the other one like and try to convey their feelings to each other without conveying their feelings, but kind of like especially how she kind of like she acts certain ways towards when other or like her friends or like other. I guess like family, she acts differently like around each of them. It's like
first of all, she's in school, which I find very true to be a thing.
And like like she plays certain characters for certain people, then like she wouldn't play to everyone else.
Also, that she just said that she liked them early.
Right.
I think that was kind of different too. That she actually said, "Oh, I like them," and then she like. So it wasn't like the trope or like
right. I don't know, who do I like? Let me think about it for like half a season, then maybe I'll have an answer. It's like, God damn it, get it together, lady.
So I guess that was a little bit different with the show too. That she's like, I like them, like actively trying to do these things to like get his attention.
Right, get him to notice me.
I think that was
literally notice me, senpai.
Yeah. So I feel that was a little bit different with the show too.
True.
And I said that, and the important thing is like the way the voice actor, because she tends to play a lot of different characters, right? And the way they're all nuanced in certain ways, like obviously the Tsundere one, this is the cool one, the imp one, he literally liked the imp one. But she had the way how the voice actor has to convey, but also like playing like she's still the same character, right? But like the way how like the feels like she's playing this character or like playing the baby or playing that. There's a lot of range you have to play all those because some people can pull it out, some can't.
I've seen American dubs.
You did?
No, but I'm just saying the idea. I've seen American dubs where people cannot pull off acting.
Oh. Okay. I thought you were like, I
wish there was. I did look for it, and sadly there was no dub on this one. Boo.
I didn't know the fact everyone focus on them, but you do meet more like her best friend, his buddies. Do
you though? That's gonna be my counterpoint, but all right.
Oh, it's all in my head now. Is that what we're talking about here?
I mean, they're there. They have like a scene or two, which I guess is gonna have to be enough because they never really get fully cooked, do they? Little underbaked, let's say.
It was really just a show.
It's a good cookie regardless. It might be a little soft.
The sides might be a little crappy, but the main dish is good.
It may not have no sprinkles. It may not have a good amount of frosting you want.
There you go.
But it's still eatable cookie. All right.
There you go.
What's the show that I complained that only had girls?
The jellyfish.
Oh yeah. So at least this one had males.
There was a couple guys. Yeah, that's true. They did exist.
Yeah.
It wasn't like once again Wonder Woman's Island or something like that.
Yeah.
Even at the end when they were getting married, like they were there, and I'm like, yeah, I saw you. Like,
hey, it's you. Hey, you. How's it going?
I mean, and why do anime they always have like that teenager that's like the president that's like an old man?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a trope, and I guess it's easy to understand, and you don't have to think about. Well, maybe that's probably for the best because he's not going to get developed here. So hopefully you see this character in some other anime where maybe they develop them. So there you go. Anything else, brother, before I just steal the mic from you if I haven't already?
No, go ahead.
So yeah, the supporting cast is easily the weakest part of the show. I know they're not super important, and at the end of the day, it's really about the two of them. But I wish there was a little bit more, because towards the end, you get a little bit more of like the writer character, who I kind of like, and maybe because I just relate to him. He's like, oh, I'm a writer too, blah blah blah. blah. And I thought some of their the guys' dialogue was kind of cute and charming, where they're once again playing off each other. And I guess there was a little bit more of that teased in the show, just to, like I said, develop the other characters a little bit more. You get a little ever so slightly more with like her best friend character. You kind of see, like, as Miles mentioned, like she acts a little bit different with her and this and that, because that's just how the relationship is versus other people in the club, or of course with the senpai she's got a crush on. So I do like the little bit of range. I did find it funny the sister was like thrown in, like the little sister was thrown in towards the end. It's like, I felt like the manga was like, oh, I need to do something this chapter. She has a little sister now. Yeah, why not? And then he can interact with the little sister. Little sisters are cute and blah 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 blah. So like that was
easy
fun. Content. Slightly spoiled of a silly visual joke that the show would do in between scenes, where there's the scene where they have to take the little sister wants to go see. Oh, right. Well, there's the whole scene where she picks up the phone, the little sister, and it's like, I want to see the Magical Girls anime. And he thinks it's the girlfriend, the older sister. And he's like, you want to see the Magical Girl? Well, okay, I really haven't heard about it, but if you want to go see it, we could go see it. And he doesn't realize for a while, it's like, oh, he realizes like, oh, this is the little sister. Can your big sister come to the phone? And then in the funny part, in the transition shot, see him go to the theater, and like he's like kind of like confused, like, all right, the little sister wants to go. I guess we'll take her out. She'll have fun. I'll be kind of bored. And they cut back to it, and then he's yucking up with the little sister about the movie, and the girlfriend's kind of like, what the fuck are these two on about? So I did thought like little cute moments like that was funny.
I do like transition moments, because those like
the more manga panel style.
Yeah, like because the manga's in here, and I do like when they incorporate the manga in, like the endings or omens or whatever. Like look how cool this is.
Oh, the intro was I loved it. The intro opening, like probably one of my like favorite anime songs in a while, because
it's a good one.
I feel at some point I feel like all of them kind of sound the same to me.
True.
So like just how it had like two singers, like
really simple,
good hook. Like, yeah. So yeah, that. And then, I don't know. Quick note.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree on that one. What was going to be my other? Oh goodness, I had it and fell right on my head.
What about the main character?
Oh, now I got to remember. So the other downside is this is an anime, right? And sadly, as we mentioned before, sometimes the production was a bit of a letdown when it comes to at least the animation. The voice acting was pretty good, so that definitely helped a lot. But at the same time, I couldn't help but notice a lot of times they weren't very bold in their like direction of how, like, where the camera should be and what's happening in the shot and the animation, because you have to make budget cuts, so I get why. But at the same time, I couldn't help being like, I feel like if I was reading this as a manga, which apparently I did do, I feel like I would get into it a little bit more, or be like a higher recommendation, because I guess, like I said, the voice acting helped, but like I needed a little bit more to really be like, no, this is why you should read or you should watch the anime over the manga. But I really felt like it didn't do enough to make it really, an easy sell to be like, no, avoid the comic, go for the the spectacular that was the anime. But it was just okay as an anime production value.
As we're gonna talk later on, but all animes and everything else are a little different than
yes. I wish there was a little bit more adaptation, perhaps changes.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, to really sell on the idea. Now it's an anime, it's an animated film, series. Because a lot of time it felt like it was just, what if we just grab manga panels, put them on screen, and then put voice acting over it sometimes.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of was the community Todoke. Like, sometimes you have to take some artistic liberty and really, like, where you put the camera, where you do this, where you do, like, and I feel like it was just safe. It was
very safe when it comes to, like, all right, they're walking on camera. I guess they're coming down a hill. Here's some sakura petals coming down. It's very safe and a little boring, but hopefully, like I said, you have to have patience if you're like one of those people like, I got to see something action-packed all the time. My goodness, you're not going to make it through this anime. Because it is a slow burn, which sometimes I do struggle with, but there are times where a series like this, or like Mushishi, which also is a very slow burn, but has a little bit more dramatic here and there, but it's still a very slow burn. I think this show is good for people who have the patience once again. But yeah, those are like the major spoilers. Is I wish a little bit more better adaptation, supporting characters could be a little bit more fun out, and The problem is, like, I'm not sure if I really wanted more episodes of this show also to, like, fix that. I just feel like maybe if we maybe speed up the process a little bit more, and then, you know, because they spend a decent amount of time of learning of like, oh, what is she into me? Is she into me? This and that, and it's pretty obvious they're pretty much to each other because like they're constantly like hanging out like after school at their houses. They're in the library together. They're studying together.
Hey, but it made extra 100 chapters. I'm not sure.
Right, and it's just kind of funny because like in like the quarter way mark, she's like, oh, I don't know if he likes me. Girl, he's always with you. He's into you. You're safe. You're okay. Don't stress this out. All right. I don't know why he's not stepping up to the plate and just asking you out. That's what he needs to be doing right now.
There you go.
It was her, right? Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, it was basically her that confessed it to him, technically.
Oh, when they went on their trip, right? She kind of mentioned it, but he told her stop.
Oh, yeah.
I want this to be like
official and the whole, like, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah, there was...
That was a pretty scene.
It was cute, and I like the homage from the opening scene of the show of when they bump into each other, get into the classroom, and the fact that, like, he kind of, you know, he was a bit of a trickster, you know, lying to her and this and that. And like, I do like also that positive thing is a lot of male leads in comedy romances tend to be kind of whatever. They're just the pretty boy for us to be like, oh, he's so pretty. But like, this guy, he's kind of an uggle, kind of, a little bit, or very average Joe looking.
He slipped the bride, I know that. The lines in his eyes, like he's in, like he sleep for a bit.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I can relate. I guess maybe that's why another reason I enjoyed him. But yeah, I did like he had that personality of just like, I don't know this girl, but fuck it, I'm just gonna lie to her face and see what happens. I think it's kind of funny. It's just silly things like that like I feel like, or maybe I used to do more often when I was younger, just because giggles and, you know, be sarcastic and jokester. And the fact that he would always be like, oh, I wanted, and then he would react like, oh my God, she actually did it. Why would you do that? Like, you didn't have to do that. I was just kind of joking. Yeah. So I like the fact that, like I said, he's got a little more personality than the average male protagonist in these kinds of shows. So that was also nice to see here as well. All right. Anything else, Pseudo Harem, or everyone got everything good?
Frank called it Psycho Harem for the longest.
He did. He even said it last time, and I had to correct him a little bit there.
So I feel like it's a good band name, Psycho Harem.
Psycho Harem, yeah. There you go.
There you go. Coming soon.
That's the next old girls group right there.
At the forum next week.
Yeah.
SoFi.
There you go.
Like, that's a good band name.
All right, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. Now that you said it aloud, I'm thinking, yeah, I'd buy tickets for that. All right.
Psycho Harem, good night.
Nice. All right. Speaking about performances and acting and selling tickets and all that good stuff, it's time for Oshi No Ko season 2. So Ivan, it's up to you to, I guess, set up the premises. I'll be nice. You don't have to set up the season 1, but let us little tease where we left off in starting off in season 2 in this one.
Previously in Oshi No Ko.
Pretty much. Last time on Oshi No Ko.
I guess I'll start off with the main story. The main story is that Aqua, the main character, is basically trying to find who killed Ai.
Mm-hmm. Or responsible, technically.
Who's responsible for it. And that's why in season 1 he is basically getting into the acting, and then Ruby, his sister, she wants to be an idol like Ai, and then quick update, they're reincarnated, and
that happened. That's crazy. It's wild.
So episode 1 was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was literally a movie.
Yeah. So season 2, it starts off they're doing stage play.
Yeah, stage plays based off a manga, technically.
Mm-hmm. And I did like the first episode because I think I'm just kind of remembering right now, just visually. Mm-hmm. Like, when you want to talk about that first episode was gorgeous. Like,
it's not bad on the eyes.
Yeah, it's just, that's the one where they're kind of splashing paint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they really went out. Mm-hmm. Like, they're like, you need to watch this show.
If this doesn't make you watch the rest of the season, I don't know what's going to get you to stay in your seat.
So, but I did like the setup where, the mangaka was like, hey, can we basically change the whole script, So it was a good setup for like the season 2 of like the play and all that.
So much drama.
And so so basically season 2 is about the play, and he's still trying to,
solve the mystery.
And I guess that's basically season 2. My initial thoughts. I feel like I had ups and downs. Like, I feel like I liked it, and then I was like, it's whatever. Then I kind of liked it, and then towards the end, like the setup for like I know season 3 has been confirmed. Like, I'm like, okay, I still will continue watching it. That's ultimately how I felt. So I feel like, if I'm being completely honest, it's one of those shows that if you you know how sometimes Frank says, "Don't think about it."
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's one of those.
It helps if you
Yeah.
can. I would suggest if you
Yeah.
can, please do so.
I think that it's just one of those. Ultimately, it's just kind of like chaotically entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's how I would describe it. So I wouldn't put it as like, oh, I love this show,
Right.
but I wouldn't put it like very, very low. So I would put like a nice solid like 7. You know,
All right. What about you, Miles? Any do you have any expectations after season 1, or how are you feeling early on with the drama play the predicament we found ourselves in?
I do like the fact they did. It makes everyone know poor kind of was insane. Like explain to the audience every single 5 minutes. Actually get other people to explain what's going on for those who don't know what stage plays are.
Anime.
Oh, don't worry, that was Akane's job this season.
Yeah,
Anime. Because Frank kind of mentioned that. I'm like, that's anime. Like
Exposition.
you watch any soccer anime, basketball, fighting.
This is called a basketball. You dribble it up and down. Thanks, slam dunk.
So, but interestingly enough, I'm like, I'm taking notes. Oh, so this is. I really do wonder if actors really do feel that way. Like, what would they call it? Emotional acting?
Emotional acting, yes. Which also, maybe the spoilers talk about that and the fact maybe I'd call it something different. But back to early stuff before we get there.
I do like the fact that let a lot of things going on at once.
It's
I also the fact that poor Ruby got shoved to the green light for like a
she
good.
gets the spotlight later in the season. It takes a while, but she's there.
But I feel like why most like she's there. She exists in this world. Okay, see you and after this arc, see you goodbye.
Pretty much.
And it's kind of weird how that worked out, and then I guess. The weird, kind of could work on the stage play, and then, okay, now you can go back to being an idol afterwards. Like, it's fascinating,
That's quite the double life she lives right there, let me tell you.
Girl of many talents. And a lot of things are going on, both visually, story-wise, which, like Ivan said, it's like, because there's a lot of
things going on, and some you might be more attached to than others.
And music I think is top-notch.
It does stand out a little bit, at least to me as well. I guess so last season where we left off, I liked Oshi No Ko, but I think I didn't get swept up in the fever that was happening at the time when it was airing that season. But I did liked it, and I was surprised despite all the nonsense that happens on that first episode. Let's say, yes, definitely a little bit of Kingdom Hearts going on. But yes, early on, so those were my expectations of. I was looking forward to it, but I was still kind of nervous because I remember the nonsense that happens, and I was concerned the nonsense would overtake the things that's really the focus of the series, which is like explaining the entertainment world of anime, manga, plays, movies, and music and idols and all everything you could think of, and really dissect and break apart and point out all the issues that happen in the entertainment scene. So that was my expectations, and then early on, as Ivan pointed out, the episode 1, the director swinging for the fences because you kind of see the final product of the stage play in the first opening scene and it's shot like in a first-person view, as if you're sitting in the audience and you see like the screen move and you hear the announcer as if like welcome to the 7 Blades or whatever it's called. Tokyo Blade. It's the most generic name of all time, but I guess it has to be, right? And they're they're all in costume and the lights and things, and then they're sweeping to the character entrances and the colors change to the color of their character's persona and this and that, and like it's just visually interesting and different, and asks for it asks for your attention to sit down, put down that burger or your Game Boy or your Twitter scroll, watch this anime. So I do like early on it really wanted and demanded your attention. I think it delivered on that overall throughout the season as you progress. So visually interesting direction choice, really well animated on top of it. So good both cinematography and animation frames. It kept up with the hype that was season 1, and kind of took a little bit more of a backseat when it came to the seriousness or the drama part of the mystery, I guess, right? It was more focused on, this is a stage play, let me tell how stage plays work. And it's kind of interesting, though, as we mentioned before, sometimes they love to tell you every dumb little thing that seems pretty obvious that we don't need to explain, but they're going to make sure everyone's on the same page, which Elusive Samurai could have took a page from that a little bit more for us
See,
samurai historical buffs.
This is a shogun, and this is retainers.
Yeah, a little hand holding there would have been nice. Just a little hand holding. I would appreciate it over there.
That's true.
Yeah.
When I think about it.
For the one time I could use a little hand holding. But yes, early on I was feeling confident with Oshi No Ko, but at the same time I was dreading when the mystery was going to back up and the over-the-topness the show can be was a concern for me in the back of my head, and we'll look forward to more on that in the spoiler talk when we get there soon in a few minutes. Before that, though, we'll talk about our non-spoilers recommendations and do we like it, yes or no, objective, subjective, all that good stuff. So let's go back to Ivan. Ivan, thumbs up or down, and anything final thoughts without that isn't spoilers.
I do feel like this is a show you can recommend a little bit more loosely, like just because I feel like like once again, there's certain shows that there's so much going on that they kind of take away from like you thinking, and you're just kind of taking in information.
Right, you don't have time to think.
I feel like this is that kind of show, so that's why I feel like it's a little easier to recommend because it's like, oh, if you just there's this anime and you can watch it. I feel like it's also like it doesn't really fall in any specific genre, and I feel like it's a little bit more general. What's the term I'm looking for?
A general audience.
A general audience show?
Global mass market. Think of all the money we can make off all these kids and everyone in between.
Yeah.
Marketable, yeah. Where's Akane when we need her to explain everything for us?
Yeah.
All right, Miles, what about you? How are we feeling about this season of Oshi No Ko? Yay or nay?
I feel like if you're a gamer, it's time to rejoice.
You're who?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay.
Because the issue, I think, for every moment, it's kind of like Dr. Stone in a way. For every explanation, you're trying to enjoy, like this what stage plays does, because I thought that was unique part where because it's a newer thing in Japan to do now.
Right. It is pretty popular, the whole stage play
and
scene.
the fact that like the whole how it works, things like that, and certain things you have to do because it makes sense the way how they explain it, why they do certain things.
Right.
In terms of how the stage plays works. And then you forget, I forgot. And there's this, and here's the Heartless story. Here we go. Let's see how you can explain this one. Now how Haku's doing his magic here in the background, and and said resolutions, things like that. We get the spoilers later on for that one.
A lot of spoilers, I think, in this one.
But overall, good quality. I'll argue, because it was very hard, especially like with the way how the season 1 when it came out, everyone was all hype. It was like the high def was like promoting the stuffing out of it.
It was everywhere on the internet.
And the show delivered. Though, and that's very rare for season 2 to be just as good. Or
that is true.
Or even I'll argue a little bit better than season 1.
Production wise, I think it was.
I actually do. I was being silly.
Yeah.
but it's just it's funny that the tone's still here because you think like season 2 and though no one talked about that like season 1 though. Like there's not much promotions for it this time around.
Oh yes, I didn't. Maybe like in the first week or two, but yeah, after that I didn't see it as much compared to season 1 advertisement.
Yeah, there was no bombardment of like, gotta see this, guys. You gotta see this.
Have you not heard of it?
Oh yeah, I think if you are curious about the industry, the Japanese entertainment industry, then this is one to watch out. Now, if you have all the nonsense come with said thing, then that's up to your own peril. Kingdom Hearts, no.
You decide.
Say how much you like Kingdom Hearts.
Frank says it also reminds me of Persona without the fighting.
I could kind of see that a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of inner turmoil and overcomingness of your own personal demons. And I guess they were demons, or Onis, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, they're
ogres.
They do spend a lot of time trying to talk about other people's issues and problems and how they deal with them.
Right.
Compared to the first one, was mostly just an aqua show, really.
Definitely. For me, if you liked Oshi No Ko season 1, then I see no reason why you wouldn't like Oshi No Ko season 2, because it's more of the show that you thought it was going to be. And I would even argue, once again, not getting spoilers just yet, it delivered more of what I liked or what I was hoping to kind of would happen. Maybe, question mark. We'll get into the spoiler talk a little bit more. But some of the one or two things they set up for next season, I liked the setup for that, considering some of the weak points I personally thought in season 1 and a little bit in season 2, they kind of maybe fixed, question mark. But, the animation, the hype, even the murder mystery, whatever you want to call it, that does develop here. So It's not, case closed where we'll never find that guys in the black organization, whatever, the guys in the dressed in black, whatever they were called. So there's progress there. So if you need some progress, fret not. It is slowly happening in Oshi No Ko. So sigh of relief there in season 2 as well in that regards to that. And yeah, if I didn't say it, I would recommend it. And who would I recommend to for? Even like I said, even if you're just like an animation snob, I think the animation's pretty, the art direction's really good, the cinematography is also really good. So if you're an artsy fartsy person, it's great. If you can't stand convoluted story plots, which is the second half of the series more, this particular season also in general, you might want to stay a little bit away from this one because it gets out there for sure. And I pointed those issues out in season 1 as well. But if you can overlook that or you find that whole plot interesting, then I don't see why you wouldn't like it and why I would not recommend it to people who've already liked season 1 or just in general, like you want a good anime recommendation. This is good testing grounds for especially a new friend. You're trying to see what their anime taste is. See how they feel about Oshi No Ko, and then maybe it won't land perfectly, but then you have a better like spot to like, okay, you didn't like this, but I bet you over here you might like it. So it's a good recommendation.
I actually think that's a good way to view it. It's a good anime fan show. Or even if they're getting into anime, so it's like this is especially when you're used to anime, because there's certain animes that you feel like they're very for specific fan base.
True.
And so this is a very general anime, so you can put it up in like other animes, like kind of big titles where I feel like it would fit under that umbrella of shows.
True. All right, gentlemen, we're here for the big moment, the big spoiler talk for Oshi No Ko season 2. I guess it's only fitting it's Ivan show, so we'd ask Ivan first. What spoiler stuff do you want to dissect today, my friend?
Well, I guess what I liked about it, it got more into Aqua's how he feels about like and him literally seeing her die, and basically it just kind of confirms that he has PTSD,
right?
And how he's like really messed up about it. So I did think some of the things were over the top, like when he was doing the plays, like emotional, like what did they call it? Emotional, like emotional acting. But basically, he was like almost reenact like his trauma was coming out.
It's called method acting, you jackass.
Method acting. Yeah.
That's the thing I'm trying to say. It has a name, and you're not using the right name. Maybe the subtitles are wrong. I don't know if my Japanese isn't perfect, but it's called method acting for crying out loud.
So, and then how you already mentioned this, like one thing I really like about Oshi No Ko is like how they do put you in a lens of like a world that you don't really know, and I feel like I appreciate that stuff. Like the first, the play was like how do you get the manga writer and then the screenwriter to basically come together, to put this production, and then like all like those little details that I feel like I don't think I've ever seen in another show, like
it's pretty rare unless it's like an anime about making anime.
Yeah,
sure, Buckles is that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I appreciate that aspect, but I guess what ultimately I ended up kind of like liking the most was like the setup for the third season, because then it gets into like, because if you go back to episode 1, they literally do get reincarnated, and he was murdered,
right?
The main guy Aqua. So up until now, they haven't really touched on that.
Not really, no.
So then they finally get into those things, and then I think even though Ruby was basically non-existing in this whole arc, I did like the fact when she says like that she was already looking for him, because for those who don't know, she was his patient, because he was a doctor, Aqua was a doctor, Ruby was a patient. They both died, and she's been looking for him this whole time.
Right.
And that's why she named the group, the pop group, what was it called again?
B Komachi, something like that.
Yeah, B Komachi. So she's been looking for him. So I feel like a lot of like the plots are starting to kind of come together. So that was what I guess as an overall arc, I'm like, okay, I kind of like the direction it's heading, and like I'm looking forward to the third season. So if I'm looking forward to it, then I feel like it did its job.
Right, that is the goal, to get you watch the next season. What about anything else, Ivan, that's off your chest?
I guess I also like the overall the characters. I like what's the name of the redhead? Kana. She's probably my favorite. Kana. What's the blue hair? I mean, they're all.
Akane.
I feel like they all serve a purpose in their own way. They're all like. I feel like that's a thing that the show does good too. Like, it doesn't really like. I mean, even though there's some times one character is more important than the other. I don't feel like they like completely ignore like character. I mean, Ruby probably got the most.
Who?
But you can tell like, oh, it's time for her. And
Right, now it's her time to shine.
Yeah, so I feel like they're all like important in some way. You know,
they do pass the baton more evenly this season.
Even the one actor, the one that was a bad at acting,
Right?
Mel,
yeah, he had his moment too. You know, so like just like little things like that.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Miles, what about you? Anything you want to get off your chest that's been haunting you, or you want to discuss or ponder?
The rule of a manga editor is never let the manga end.
Oh, yes. That was definitely the most honest answer I've ever heard when it comes to manga and anime.
They did say that. Huh?
Yeah.
And straight
which is literally the most true thing of all time.
You help the manga work out, do that, and you never let it end.
Basically, your goal is to keep. I mean, prime example: Dragon Ball Z. Toriyama, invented basically the battle formula plan for generations to come. And boy, does it feel very obvious that Majin Buu was just unlocked DLC that he kind of didn't want to do, but was kind of forced to do because look at all the money, Mr. Toriyama. Don't you like the money? Keep doing it, please. And it's like, well, I don't know. I guess Gohan could go in high school, and I could go back to like Dragon Ball comedy of just being silly for silly sake. And I don't know. There's like an Ultra Kai, and then never mind. There's a pink guy. Oh, but that's not the real Majin Buu. Well, but that's not the real evil Majin Buu. Here's the real. I mean, Dragon Ball's always had a little bit, but it's so obvious that
it's like that. And like
they all have the similar.
All the great ones. You could feel the moment at which this is what the manga wanted to end,
and it kept going for other reasons.
And then editor says, "Do not stop."
Yeah, keep it going. And they all have that problem. And just Dragon Ball's the easy one to point out too.
Unless you're a Demon Slayer, like, no, screw it. I'm gonna go even faster.
I'm just gonna get out of here before they notice me on that. Notice that I'm good or I'm okay at my job. Get me the fuck out.
He's going very supersonic racing right there.
Yeah, indeed. He was. Yeah, he got in and out quickly on that one for sure.
Yeah. So over that, I did like Ivan said, I do like the fact that Aqua still is kind of our main lead, I guess, per sense. The other characters managed to shine a bit. We learn more backstory of like our two female leads and their whole complicated relationship in itself. Even like the small time actor, even he has his moment, to pretty much,
there's a little bit more depth to his character than nothing.
They said they're
Pseudo Harem.
Yeah. Well, it's very good because it's one play, right? It's one stage play for like a month or something like that, and then it's gonna go away, disappear, right? But in the span of this whole time, we're learning things people dealing. So Aqua's bad way of dealing with the problem, just swallow up and be fine.
There you go. Just answer my own personal life into this. That seems healthy.
Because like I'm like and they're like yes, it's Jared Leto. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we've had some great performances with that actor.
And just like I also can't wait for probably Tron 3 or Aries, one or the other. Method acting.
If you can't act, try method acting.
Just bring all your drama out to the world. That'd be fine. But the poor Ruby gets kind of pushed off the side to like bury the last
See you next season.
It is granted a little nonsensical what's going on with her in terms of like how does the ghost lady tell her everything of that and like is convenient. But the fact that is that you see the ending makes better sense at the end after you get the whole reveal.
Oh yes. The Marvel ending.
Because like the ending, you're like, what is going on? Like, why is Ruby like she's not even here in this arc? Like, oh, okay.
Right. I see what you're saying. The build up to get there.
The ending song.
Oh, the ending actually gets swapped out?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so at the end...
I kind of thought that, but I was also zoning out because I had a marathon this show.
Because in a way, we don't know what the crow had in his mouth at the end of the ending. And it was the keychain.
I see.
And so, and it said the whole ending makes more sense, especially like, the last episode, everything's kind of gets a little weird, a little wobbly. And before you get to the last scene, which is pretty much... the spoiler for it, I guess, where
tease of next season
when everything gets a little weird and that, and then that's how like you understand like Ruby's now like, well, just like we're going to go to the dark side.
The dark side.
Yeah, the dark Sharingan or
pretty. I guess so, right?
Well, I do like the fact that visually like Aqua's is gone now, right? So Aqua's more he's
chilled out, man.
He's free.
He lost his Sharingan.
It happens.
But we all know it's gonna come back.
No.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should say what the spoiler is. That basically Aqua found out that one of the other actors is actually his half brother.
Yes.
So they share the same dad. And so Aqua's been looking for the murderer of and he's leaning that his father.
Yes, he's assuming it's his father is the responsible for the death.
Yes, but I guess when you kind of mentioned it right now, Miles, that what makes it kind of cool is that basically the show started like they died, and you just have to kind of accept it.
Right, yeah, which I struggled with. Let me tell you.
Yeah. But now like it's actually kind of getting into like
there's a reason for it.
Yeah, we're like the sci-fi part of it.
Yeah.
Would it be sci-fi or the
supernatural? I guess
supernatural. But basically, it's like a god.
Yes, their gods exist in this world apparently.
Well, there's a god. She's the god of entertainment, and apparently, a lot of idols. Instead of eye situation, a lot of idols go there to know.
Well, because that's the shrine they visited.
They visit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so you go to the shrine to be better entertainment, whatnot, what entertainment field you're at. And of course, according to this real logic, that's what caused all the magical shenanigans to happen because of this god interfering somehow.
Sure, whatever. I roll.
I like I said, I am surprised we found the body.
We'll get okay. I'm saving it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Because it was still intact.
Well, not so much where they found the body was kind of like what, huh?
Yeah, I know. We'll wait till we get there.
Yeah. I guess it's not so much that I want to defend it, but I guess the reason why it was still not found was because no one cared about him, right?
That's the problem. Like, okay, so it's multiple things. Okay, so I guess we're getting into now the dead body in case those who don't know. So two things. Let's go for the easy one. How did they stuff his body in the back of that tree for one?
Yeah.
So, okay, there's a little bit of that, especially if you imagine, because the way he's laid out, it implies he had a flesh and bone, so to be flesh on the body. So, I mean, they couldn't like do, well, here's the hand and stuff the skeleton in, and then here comes the other part of the skeleton, and then build him back into the set, right? So, he had to stuff him when he was still flesh and this and that, and blood or whatever, dried blood, whatever carcass. So, that's already hard to believe. Two, who moved the body?
Yeah.
The god?
Well,
it implies the god.
I'm assuming because the god hinted she told Ruby pretty much there were two of them. There was obviously the guy who killed.
Right. So are we implied the so what we can do? So spoilers alert.
Spoilers.
The dad is the one that stuffed the body back there.
Yeah, but we don't know which dad. See, and that's the thing I got confused. Is that are there two fathers?
No, I didn't think that. What did you think?
No,
Ivan?
From what I understood, it was one dad and one of them he hired.
Here's what I thought. I thought it was the dad, the biological dad, and it was the guy that actually did kill her later on.
Yes.
That's what I think.
Yes. So the dad hired
this guy, yeah,
to do the killing.
He basically, hey, in that hospital, there's my, I don't know, my baby mama, go kill her.
Yeah, and I will say this up front because I'm up to date with the manga.
Mm-hmm.
This show is a lot of shenanigans. So I feel like it's not, once again, I'm not trying to defend it, but it's one of those shows you have to like brain.
You're gonna go on the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
So and it definitely is one of those.
So if you like, it's like brain off.
Yeah.
You just kind of like go with the motions of the show, and like it's very unique. It's but yeah, if you start breaking it down, it can get a little funky because I know like I'm up to date with the manga, so it's not so much I want to spoil it for everyone, but like it's one of those things where like I do feel like things could have been fleshed out a little bit better. But it's still like, because I forgot this part of the anime part, the manga wise, but I'm like, yeah, but somehow it still kept me reading it no matter
right.
what.
Well, by them stuff, I just wish they didn't stuff like if he was buried or something, like any way to hide the body would have made more sense. They stuffed him like in the end of this hollow tree, which like how did they do it?
It was behind the shrine.
It's not impossible, but it looked rather hard.
Well, it's a mystery, and we got another mystery.
It's just a weird choice, considering like he fell down the mountain cliff and died there supposedly, right?
Yeah,
as far as we know. And so that means they went down, grabbed his carcass, and then went back up to the shrine and dump it. Why not just dump the body at the end of the ravine?
I thought the shrine was in the bottom. That's what I thought.
Maybe. What did you think? Did you think the shrine was up towards the bottom where the body was? No, I didn't think that either.
Brain off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that helps. That definitely helps.
I'm sorry. I was not awake for that one.
There you go. Fine. Well, we didn't look on we didn't see the map. We didn't know if it whatever the. Well, let's go ahead.
No, I'm just like, the body's been found, and that's
that was it. Brain stop.
Frank, stop.
Good enough for me. That's probably the smartest thing to do. Definitely for sure.
I think that's what I would probably recommend for the show.
Yeah, I concur as well. I definitely concur. So whatever, they stuff the body. Sure, the goddess just dumps the exposition and tells her, like, I know for a fact there was 2 of them. Ha ha ha. Which, like I said, I roll. I'm like, okay, I guess so. Because once again, because at that point, Aqua is like, oh, there's no more mystery to solve. The war is over. My revenge is dead. Oh, okay, what do I do now? I don't know. And I did think that part was interesting. But what we get by him turning himself off, we get Ruby turn on to the max at 11. As we see with the visual cue that she gets consumed with the darkness, if you will. And so that was cool. And then speaking of which, the one thing I really, really liked about the last episode where you see the music video.
Oh, yeah.
So you see that, like, she's gone to the dark side, which is cool. But what I thought was really, really cool, being the editor nerd that I am, if you realize in that video, there's several shots of her, going with the dark, crazy eyes, but then there's several shots of her being normal. And of course, the reason for that is she only learns that information halfway through the trip. So everything they shot before she noticed that revelation, she looks normal. And that footage makes sense that she looks normal, because in my brain, you'd think, like, wouldn't you have her have evil eyes the whole music video?
Yeah.
But technically they wouldn't, because that was shot before she learned that information. And so all the scenes that were filmed afterwards, she has the crazy eye. So very nerdy little things. I'm like, that's pretty clever.
I do like how I like the spookiness of that. That moment, because like they're gonna show that the video, right?
They're hyping up you're waiting where it's there it is,
and it's like and like you said, the fact that it's interspliced between like, oh, she doesn't know, oh, she knows, no, she doesn't know, oh, she knows. And I do also like they kind of. I mean, they always play with Aqua, like the way her eyes are, right? You know, when they're
sparkling,
they're sparkling, like kind of like eyes was, or they're kind of just dull, or then they when totally to the dark side, or whatnot. There were a lot of visual cues
that the director loves using to sell the hype,
and the fact, like the fact that Aqua's like, I'm done, I'm
that was kind of sad.
Yeah, and I did like that because. But okay, so I did like that story beat, but at the same time, did anyone really think like, oh, I guess the mystery solved, wrap up the show, we're done? Like, did anyone really believe that?
No.
So it's like, what's the point of doing the fake out when no one's buying the fake out? So a little bit of that, but I thought that would have been an interesting what if actual ending because a lot of times, like, all these revenge stories, they have to have like, I gotta find the murderer and this and then you want the big moment of climaxes of like, oh, how dare you, and blah. But like sometimes you never really do get that revenge, and it's just like, oh, he's already dead. And like,
true.
And I always find that interesting because like, what do you do when all this anger, you've been focusing all your time and attention to this one moment and you'll never get it? So what the fuck do you do now? And you kind of have him like going through that moment, which I actually did appreciate that, and give him a little bit more depth to his character, because I was always confused with Aqua as a character, because for one, there's the whole like, I used to be a doctor and now I'm dead and I've been reborn as this idol person that I might be in love with. Their relationship.
I don't think he knows though. Like, it's a weird.
He doesn't know.
Well, like I think he discussed it in season 1 at the end, like, what is I to him?
Right, but that's the problem. It's never really explained. It's all over the place. And I always thought his motivation to seek revenge was a little weird and maybe not super justified, because it's never like it's still to this day, at least in the season, he always dresses her as as like a third person. So it's not, because technically she would be his mother at this point in time, right? And that makes more sense. Like, I'm here to get revenge for my mother and this and that, but he never addresses his mother. So I always found it weird that why is he so personally attached to this I character? Because his only connection with I is that when Ruby was still the patient, when he was still a doctor there in their previous lives, is she was a big fan of I and her idol group, and that kept her motivated. And so he kind of became a fan because that, cheered her up and made her motivated. So she became a fan of I through her. So, but there was no real direct attachment why he should like I. It was this weird third attachment or connection. And so I was always confused of why he felt so strongly to seek out justice for this person that's basically still kind of a stranger to him, despite she really isn't.
I definitely agree with that. I guess what I kind of liked about this season was that this show like could get into kind of heavy topics, and I think, at least I'm trying to remember, but it seems like this show kind of just really emphasized like just the act of seeing her dying really like messed them up,
right?
And I think so.
Which it should.
Yes. And I think it's almost like this whole like I'm cool, I'm like
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. I'm not, and it's like no, like it actually did really mess him up. Like to, like I guess like the way the season portrayed it was like he was a child and he was incapable to physically save her, especially because he knew he was a doctor.
Right.
And I feel like it's like he's like, yeah, he's like messed up.
Right.
He's messed up. So, but it's true. It wasn't really like saying why he really wanted to, but I guess he's just like really messed up from. I mean, he died.
Right. It's a lot to take in. Give him some credit. It's a lot. It's a lot.
He died. Then I dies, and then so like there's like a lot of like so I guess that's what one thing I'm gonna say is again sometimes like I feel like the way this writer dies because he did Kaguya too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he really goes for those emotional.
He does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's
So,
not
like,
afraid to.
And I feel like a lot of times like the show's like all over the place, but he like really wants to like it's about the feeling, like the feeling,
This moment,
like this feeling, and I think that's what he was going with Aqua. Like this is what he felt like. It's like so just like I guess that's what I do kind of like about the show, how he like touches on things like depression, suicide, like very like kind of
pretty heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff.
And it also did a very good job of like visually showing you said things as they're talking about it, and especially he's talking to Akane about it, and kind of how she's kind of more or less kind of like, sure, let's go, let's do it together, guys.
There you go, let's commit crimes together.
Yeah, she's becoming kind of like his.
She's a little crazy too.
And it's like, and I said like it's weird because it was between Contra her and Kane. Go like, I don't know which was helpful. Which was helpful for
maybe the ones not so willing to do crime so quickly. Maybe.
Kane, what makes her so cool though is that she like even her story is pretty interesting. Like because she's like child actor, and then like they showed her story. Her mom was basically just using her as like a piggy bank, and then when she was in
you're talking about Kana.
Kana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so. Yeah, it's very like he's an interesting writer.
He gets into the details eventually, and he does flesh out more characters. Because the other thing I was going to get to was back to Aqua, because we never get to hear his story as a doctor. We just know he was a doctor, and I guess he was a good doctor. But you actually hear his backstory of like he didn't. That his mom, the mother died giving birth to him, and then he was raised by his grandparents, and that's what motivated him to become a doctor, right? And I guess that's the attachment of. In a weird way, because and like I said, as I teased before, if you do the heavy lifting, I guess you can make the connection. Because of that, he always felt he wanted to be a doctor and he wanted saved. And of course, when Ai gets pregnant, of course, he's thinking about his actual mom at the time, what happened to her, wanted to make sure she was going to be okay, and that's his attachment. And of course, we find out she isn't okay. Well, the birth goes that way, but then she eventually does get murdered like 5 years down the timeline, and which motivates him. And of course, really, it's my mother, but not my mother, but really my mother, but also my real mother.
Like I said, it's. As convoluted it is, it makes more sense than Rebirth.
Oh, Final Fantasy, yes.
Yeah.
And
there's still the mess in the room.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But yeah, I do like, as I think we all mentioned before, is like it's a little bit more than just the Aqua show, because it was a little too much the Aqua show. Like I said, Aqua never really did a lot for me. And Ivan already mentioned the Kana. We get more of her backstory, and I like, she's more developed, and we see her like a little conflict during the play of like, I want to be in the spotlight, but I know I can't always be in the spotlight. And so sometimes I have to take the step back. But of course, that's like the duel between her and Akane, because Akane wants her to be at her best, so she could beat her at her best and have a fair fight to be the best actress there ever was to be.
What a shonen fight, by the way.
Yeah, so I like the inner emotional feels and going on during the play, and everyone like ad-libbing on top of the stage on the fly, like, oh, what did he say? What's going to happen? So little details like that, and like the fact where that little small scene where the audio cues in too early and it flubs the guy's line, and he's like, fuck, the stupid audio guy fucked up my line now. And she's like, no, why couldn't you speak up more louder? I can't hear you, this and that. But the fact that she's quick on her feet, right?
Yeah.
So little things like that, I really do like the fact, because like that's how it actually is to perform in a play. Maybe a Pseudo Harem should take a listen. All
right.
We get to see the acting, but do we ever get to see a fully play?
Never. One that has money and one that does not.
Fair, all right, fair enough comment there from Miles.
One literally kill poor jellyfish just to make the show.
That first episode, like visually, that's what they were like doing this.
It was like Splatoon, yeah.
Yeah, like Splatoon. I was like, gosh, like it was just gorgeous.
Pretty.
Gorgeous animation. So I'm like, oh, because when we always pick our 3 shows, and I'm like, like I wasn't sure. But after that show, I'm like, how can you like not?
Fair enough, Ivan. Fair enough. That was a.
You know,
I can see why now.
You know,
Makes
it shows
sense.
good when it leads into the ending.
Oh yes.
They do that all the time.
Like, yeah, let's go.
With that guitar too. This season ending.
Oh yeah, the fuzz guitar.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm always kind of like I hate it, but at the same time, I'm kind of starting to dig on it at the same time. I was like, damn it. They do it enough, it starts to work.
Yeah, Frank said it that he started like the tune started growing on him because the first season obviously it was like so like the opening.
Yes, it got a bazillion likes.
So, but this one I started it grew on me.
It grew on me. I do. If comparison, also I can't stand Chickman music, which you get sometimes in anime opening songs. So yeah,
but this one I feel like it feels like this is a series. Well, the play is happening, but also there's more darker tone. We're getting
it's more complicated.
More complicated than we originally thought. So that between that and the ending, which gets more complicated the more you keep going through it. I feel like there's more balance and more like a lot of things are going on, but it's not like happy-go-lucky because it's not. You had to listen to the lyrics at the first to kind of get what they're talking about, I guess.
Right, which I could barely understand what she's saying for one.
But this one is more like you go more feels because the tone's more darker and more.
It's a big build up. But yeah, definitely the music definitely stands both the opening and ending, but even just the original soundtrack music used in the show. They time it up well, and then I do like that scene in the fighting in the stage play where I think like they're screaming or like they're really building up where there's no audio, it's just like him screaming, or it's just the music, that's what it's just the music playing, and you see the animation and the emotional feel because it's like the climax of the play, right? And this and that, and all the build up between on the play and then what's happening in their heads off the play, if you will. So yeah, that's a lot of good build up with the play stuff, and I like that we see the mangaka's original creator behind it and how eccentric she is. But it makes sense because to be a mangaka and do a weekly series, you kind of have to be a little insane. So for once, they made these characters who tend to be over the top and nonsensical and not realistic actually work in context with the show. So that was interesting to, like I said, make that persona believable because of the way she is. And the fact you see her senpai, and I like the dynamic of like, she used to be the top dog, and then she kind of fell off, and now she's the top dog.
That was funny when they were talking smack to each other.
And then they had that little heartfelt breaking rage moment, but in a good feeling kind of way, back and forth, chewing each other out. I can't believe you did. Well, I can't believe you did that, and this and that. So like that, to me, like I said, that I liked a lot. Once again, as a writer, creator, especially you see the poor the screenwriter who's trying his best to like fulfill the original manga source and bring it to a new audience and adaptate it to a theater stage play, which is not easy. I can only imagine. I've never tried to done, especially like the way, which it must be how they do it in Japan, because man, that's some like Spider-Man New York, when that Spider-Man shit they had to pull down in New York when it came out. All the wires and this and that.
I was fascinated how the stage plays work, because you always hear about them, like the news and news, like you always like,
you just kind of shrug them off because you're like, oh, it's a play.
But like now you understand, like, oh, so it's like a whole like production thing. They move things around.
If it's like this shit, holy shit, we need to get some tickets, Joe.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, if next time, because I hear them like sometimes they bring them out here. I'm like, I don't need some like bad Shakespeare Naruto or something, right? I don't need to believe it or not. We don't need that.
To believe it or not to believe it.
There is a video on Spirited Away, I think.
Yeah, everything they've had pretty much on everything, but I've never really sat down and seen them. But now Oshi No Ko's maybe just give it a shot. Take a peek.
I feel like they're getting more popular now, even more shows, and there's another way to explore yet another immediate conglomerate.
And put money in my pocket, says the publisher.
Yeah.
Yay!
I get money for this and the anime and the manga.
Beautiful.
Let's get don't let the money stop. Don't let the money stop.
Don't keep the series. Keep it going one way or another. Keep it going.
But that should be a frame right there. Just put that for everybody.
There you go.
Never let the series end, no matter what.
One last quick thing, kind of random, but like the opening where they show Ruby kind of like bouncing her finger like that.
Yes, I do remember.
That's one of the things I kind of love the most about the show, because like it has like this like rhythm and bounce to it, like and like the characters are always kinda like and I feel like
they're loose.
Yes, and I anime visually, like it's fun to watch that there's like this kind of like flow and movement.
Gotta have that in anime.
You know how like you like a lot of idol shows, like I felt like this one actually kind of had like because it also is kind of an idol show.
It is still kind of an idol show.
Yeah. So like the fact that you see kind of those movements, it's like,
there you go.
Like,
get your glow sticks out.
Yeah. So Well, that's the first episode, right? When they're like dancing with the glow sticks.
Little babies with the sticks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's still silly.
I do like, I think like Ray mentioned, like when the opening, when you see like, everyone's kind of like sitting in the theater and seeing I again, right?
Oh yeah, I do like that. That's probably my favorite shot in the opening, where you see just the kids and like the few people who knew who I was in the whole story, and they're still kind of like watching her, and like they're still kind of like haunted by her shadow, if you will. I like that part. That's just, and plus the music gets a little heavy there and calms down. It's like, that's a good cut right there and good timing.
Yeah. One last quick note. I did also kind of like that I wasn't so present.
You're right.
Because
Also good.
Because in the first season it was like I like 1000, and I feel like this season it kind of like you actually learn more about who Aqua, Ruby, and everyone else is. So I mean, she was obviously still present, but it wasn't like the eye show.
Exactly. Yes. Which is probably for the best in my opinion so far.
Last thing too. Another thing I liked was when his self showed up in the back. The one where I guess at one point he was kind of like letting loose, and then his shadow.
Which I thought was kind of stupid at first until they get into it later on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I said, I get the emotional ties in the build-up, but the visual cue, I was kind of like, why is it the doctor's self that's showing up?
That's like the not the resentment,
regret,
the guilt, the PTSD.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But that wasn't, when that happened, that wasn't him.
He's losing his original self, and more just being he's more being just Aqua now than being his past self.
Right.
But it's a very.
I know, it's very hand wavy. Just trust me, bro.
It was like one.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
It's like one sentence, like he very much says like but since now I'm like almost no.
Yeah. Whatever I need to be, just trust me, bro. Which is fine. Like I said, in these like I said, later on you see him, and it's no longer the doctor, it's Aqua, which like that makes more sense to me, because as a child he felt like he couldn't save his mom, and that's the emotional tie-in was that he deals with. But visually it doesn't show that, it shows his previous self, which I was always like, confused. Yeah. But like I said, the emotional feel and the darkness, I ate that part up, so there's no doubt about that one. The last thing I want to ask you, gentlemen, just because of me putting on my super nerdy brain cap thing, as I teased earlier, with the fact
this thing you've been teasing me this whole day, and I still don't get it.
Okay. So as I mentioned before, we have the fake out with, he discovers he has a half brother, right? And the half brother tells him, oh, well, our dad's already dead. He committed suicide with my mom. But like I said, no one fucking fell for this lie. So then the back of my brain went instantly, so he's not dead, but this guy is dead. And somehow he's convinced that it was some kind of double suicide thing. Is his dad a serial killer?
Yeah, that's basically what it's implying.
Yep, and then sure enough, as we get later on, you get the Marvel entrance in the scene, and Dad's been doing this for a while now.
Which part was that one?
Where you just see the random scene of him walking up, and like someone's like fallen down, and you don't know who this person is, and she just goes, you murderer, because he's like, you should be more careful.
Why do I not remember that scene?
Oh, you didn't see
it's at the last end.
It's after the credits. It's like a Marvel end credit scene.
Oh, I don't know if I
you didn't
saw
see. Oh, yeah. There's because you do see the dad in one more scene before, and of course in between that's, like I said, the end Marvel credits where it's pretty much proven. Oh yeah, he gets his kicks off doing this kind of shit, and you see him. He passes Ruby at Ai's gravestone, and being the big otaku anime nerd I am, he has one line of dialogue. And gentlemen, do you know who voice actor is in Japanese? It is. Who could it be?
Oh no, tell me.
It's the biggest serial killer of them all in all anime. Is Mr. Light Yagami has returned to continue his murder spree.
Oh, I was just thinking about that Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's the act. I forget. It's like Mamoru something.
That's actually really cool.
But he's a very popular voice actor, and once I hear his voice, I'm like, oh, it's him, because he plays. He plays Light. He plays that over-the-top character in Zombieland Saga.
What I'm thinking about now, because now we're gonna. I think it didn't Connie say something like she figured it out that it was
a fake out.
Yeah. But then she kind of like let go because all the emotional things.
Right, which I forgot to bring. I wanted to bring that in spoilers. I like that dynamic that Akane's like, oh, I should let this go, but if I don't, he's going to keep festering and we can't really be super boyfriend-girlfriend. I want to be super boyfriend-girlfriend. So maybe it's better if he doesn't know that this is all a fake out. But I don't think the show really implies how she knew that. It just she did. She knows those. She's very book smart, makes her, you know, like Sherlock Holmes, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of wondering that a little bit, but then I was too busy. Like I said, my first thought was like, so this is, like I said, no one's buying this fake out. So this guy must be, he's killing a bunch of people because this is another, it's more than a coincidence. Everyone that bumps into this guy keeps ending up dead. And like I said, we get that Marvel credit. And then when I heard the voice actor, I'm like, God damn, of course it's this fucking guy. Because like I said, he has that distinguished voice and you just know because it's always like very sinister. Like, ho, ho, ho. Yeah. So I was like, oh, how
That's
fitting.
cool.
He's the voice actor.
That's cool.
And he's back to his old tricks again, baby.
I think that's actually kind of cool, like for like people that work in the business, because it's almost like it's kind of like a joke. Like he's always like at it again.
And that's why, because like the show is always talking about how anime works and behind the scenes and voice acting and acting and stuff and that. So it's kind of fitting they find a similar actor to play this over the top villainish character who's known for playing over the top villainous characters.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like, a little kind of breaking the fourth wall meta inside joke reference if you're an anime nerd to pick up on that. Despite like he literally has like 2 lines. But I'm like, I know my mother. Not this time.
I need to go watch the ending because I don't think and usually I'm pretty good
stick
at
to the credits?
to checking, like, because you never know now.
Right, that's true. Oh my, I hate when anime does that. Like, here's like 5 more seconds of footage. And like sometimes it's important, sometimes it's just garbage.
Well, it's just like, and like Pseudo Harem did that. Like if you wait long, there's some episodes like,
they would do like the little skits.
At the second half, they'll do a little skit at the end.
Mm-hmm. Teasing
Takagi-san?
Did you ever watch the movie?
Mm-mm.
I walked out of the theater during the credits and they had like a thing at the end.
Oh.
And I was so pissed because I was looking for it online and I couldn't find anything.
See, that's we got to buy the movie.
Yeah, no, well, it's on High Dive now.
Oh, there you go.
But for the longest, it wasn't.
That sucks. And see, that's the sad. Marvel movies have now trained us that, nope, sit your ass down. We're not going anywhere. There might be something. I don't know, probably not, but I'm not taking I paid $20 for this damn seat, if not more. I am going to see every dumb bit because you don't want to be poor Ivan being like, what happened? What happened?
I'm looking online. I think I saw like a video, like, when people film it.
The iPhone. You just see like on the bottom recorded on an iPhone.
Oh, that was so...
tough ties. That's what you don't want. You don't be left out. You don't want Fumofu. It's a bad feeling. It's a great anime though, I'll tell you that. All right. So I think we Oshi No Ko, we got all our Oshi No Ko. Okay.
Surprisingly pretty good.
I'm actually a little bit more looking forward to it. And then, okay, one last final thing. I find it more fitting that I think I teased a little bit, but it makes more clear, obvious sense to me why Ruby would be more interested and more got a revenge hard on for finding this killer, because not only did she kill Ai, who she loved in her previous life, a second time because she ends up becoming her mother, right? But also this guy's responsible of killing his first love, which was, as Ivan pointed out, was his motivation, or her motivation to become an idol master, was to hook up with this guy again because she talks because she has a crush on him, and she was and she talked about how much she talks to, I think, Akane about how much of a love gap is too big. Do you think an age gap? Yeah. And so she has a crush on him. You see like vision, like if I become an idol, then he'll show up to the concert and we'll fall in love, and then all that dream washed away.
You've seen her eyes, right? When she,
that's
when she dimmed down.
That was cool. I mean, it sucks for her, but
but emotional draw, and like I said, it makes more sense now. Now she has nothing but pure motivation to get revenge on this on this dad figure versus Aqua, who's like, oh, sure, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Aqua thinks he's dead.
Well, I know, but even before he knew he was dead, just like I mentioned, why is he so built up on fighting Ai's murderer, right? Versus now Ruby's motivation, like hers is like, if we bring out the scales, Ruby's like breaking by 1,000 miles of why she wants to kill this guy.
That was a cool scene when they were praying, or their wish, and she's like, I wish my brother finds the person. It's like, ooh.
Right. Like,
that was pretty,
just
really
the right amount of spookiness.
Really quickly though, but we know how she feels, right? About the doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone keeps on talking about their brother and sister, so like the lines do get muddy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I'm like la 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 la, because I know they're gonna get there. I'm like, no, not gonna talk about it, not gonna think about it. Turn it off. Bring out the beer.
I seen them anime know where this is going.
I don't want to. No. Not even half brother or sister. No cousins. No nothing. Yikes.
Let's talk about stage plays. Let's talk about.
Have we talked about more about how anime's made? Let's break it down frame by frame.
Yeah. Let's avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. No, that is the thing that I'm scared about the most still in Oshi No Ko. But fingers crossed, and hopefully we could keep getting on this because, like I said, at first I was kind of meh. I'm a little bit more into it, so let's see if the hype train can keep going. As the official set of season 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay. There, I thought so.
Yeah, but you came with that teaser's like, oh boy, here we go.
It's quite the juicy tit, and I think they announced the manga's coming to an end.
The manga ends next month.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah, and
we got like a My Hero situation kind of Demon Slayer.
I think it ends next 4 or 5 chapters. They
Okay.
said.
Well, I'm up to date.
Cheater.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of nice because I
Beater.
forgot a lot of this already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like new.
Right, fresh again.
So well,
Let's do it
gotta
again.
go back and
There
let's.
you go.
I kind of don't want to because I look forward to
The next.
the anime.
Because what I heard so far, I think, and his annotation wise, that it does a little more better presenting it than the manga did. That's what people say.
Oh, and also, like, I am the kind of people that read a manga. I see a lot of words.
blah 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 blah. Let's see the pictures.
Yeah, I'll just kind of go like to where I know it's important. But so a lot of like the dialogue when they're explaining like something about the place.
Yeah, I'm sure the play's fascinating, interesting. Being a writer, I'm sure it's hard. Blah blah blah. My livelihood, everything, my whole meaning of life. Skip. Just scrolling past.
Sorry guys, but I am one of those.
My whole life just to scroll, literally be scrolled by.
So that's why you should start One Piece. You could probably go through it real quick.
Yeah, I did was kind of doing the same thing too.
Yeah, you kind of have to on that one. That one, I don't blame you. All right, so that will do it for summer 2024. So once again, Elusive Samurai. Pseudo Harem.
Who won?
Is there a winner?
All right, well, I'm still jumping the gun. Let's back it up.
And I
here.
won, so there we're done.
Did Frank give you his list?
That is the problem. But yeah, Frank, he squandered his choices.
I think he did tell me.
Did he tell you? I meant to ask him, and I got busy at work, and I forgot to text him.
I think it's safe to say he picked Samurai first, Oshi No Ko second, and then Pseudo third.
Okay, that would have been my guess.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Frank. Let's go back to Miles. Miles, let's pretend we don't know what the ranking is, but let's hear it anyway.
It was a Samurai, let everybody know.
Yeah.
Pseudo Harem, Oshi No Ko, and the Elusive Samurai.
Okay. Ivan, how we feeling?
I think one of my choices changed. I had Samurai second, but I think after like talking it here, I bumped it to 3. So Oshi No Ko, Pseudo, and then
I was gonna say Samurai, Elusive Samurai.
Yeah,
that one. And I concur with that thought because I liked Oshi No Ko the most, so first place. Pseudo Harem, if you stick with it, it delivers the good stuff that you don't get all the time, so that was good to see, but man, it was a little rough, that early patch. And Elusive Samurai, I didn't hate it, but it's just one of those, like, my brain...
We're probably seeing children enslavement.
Yeah, it's just, like, it was hard to look the other way when it came to the child endangerment in that series a little too often.
How young is he?
Yeah. But like I said, I feel like this season was maybe our better seasons overall. I felt like there wasn't all super stinkers or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So something, I guess, towards the end of the year, maybe we'll do like a ranking of the year or something like that.
And you guys watch more shows, right? You watch Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I guess we did cover the new season Demon Slayer. We kind of did the new Spice and Wolf. Technically, we were like, we missed the final arc, or at least I did.
There's 2 more episodes I need to finish it because we did in review.
Yeah,
you were also watching My Hero too, right?
Yeah, we are watching that, but we haven't talked about it recently.
But that's begrudgingly.
Yeah, that's. But yes, yeah, and then we also did the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies. Yes. So we have all your summer coverage right here on Taco Otaku. So check out the page www.
Just don't look at the fall yet, brother, because there's still more.
There's what?
The fall.
Oh, shut up, Miles. That's next episode's problem. We're 2 weeks.
That's Future Ray.
Yeah, that's Future Ray's problem. And Future Ray's got a giant video to work on. Speaking about that, Jesus Christ. Present Ray's feeling tired already. But yeah, so coverage all day here on Taco Otaku. Once again, you can find this podcast wherever you find podcasts. On Spotify, YouTube, your Amazon Music, and of course all your various Apple podcast catchers out there. So surely you must listen to one of these, and if you did, didn't you know there's a better way to listen to this podcast? Because sometimes leaving the YouTube channel all day is not the greatest way to do it. But if you're a Spotify person, you can check us out there and all the other places at tacotaku.com. And so, yes, next week, I guess we know what it is. We are going to be covering, I guess it's kind of a retro review. Apparently the 10-year anniversary, Jesus Christ, where's my gun? It's the 10-year anniversary of Tokyo Ghoul Season 1, and it's a kind of spooky, slightly more gory series, but does involve young children, so I'm okay with the violence in that one. So it's going to be a re-review for me, but it'll be a first time for Frank and Miles here checking that out, so you get to see two different perspectives about Tokyo Ghoul Season 1, because it's the only good Tokyo Ghoul. We don't talk about the other Tokyo Ghoul animes. It's terrible. Very terrible. Don't watch them. I'll tell you that right now.
The ending's the same, though.
Question mark. But so yes, look forward to that just in time for Halloween. And then after that, we'll be back with our fall preview season. We're still in midst of deciding who gets who. We know Frank will be stepping out that season, so it'll be up to the three panelists here to just choose what 9
Love,
previews.
Life, Superstar. Love, Life, Superstar.
Well, there's a lot of shows.
There's a lot of shows, and so yeah, that's a lot to choose from.
Oh, and also Idol Master Shining Colors.
This poor bastard.
Sorry, what? Oh, I'm sorry, what now? Is this me plugging stuff in on the podcast right now? I'm sorry, what?
I look forward to hearing this question mark. All right, but of course, before we go, I gotta say thank you. So Ivan, thank you joining us once again, covering our anime for the season. And you picked in a hell of a show, Ivan, picking a hell of a show with Oshi No Ko. Who would have thought?
Always a winner.
Always a winner.
So yeah, I guess that also means you're the winner this season. Attaboy.
I like he called the shot already. It's like, I got this.
And I got to win because I didn't have to make any choices. That's a win for me.
I was a Hernandez.
Yeah, it's
another Hermano right here. We got all the brothers.
Yeah.
You found them.
Back to back.
Dodger joke.
There you go. Squeeze them every day.
Literally telling people to F off in the air. That was funny.
Oh, yeah, that's it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
This is live TV? Yeah. We don't give a fuck. It's so stupid. You're like, yeah. Boys be boys, apparently.
That's funny.
There goes all of our San Diego fans.
I know.
You just see the map is San Diego's like completely like
I'm gonna have to leave my Dodge head next time I go for some nice craft beers. I have to say that now.
Yeah, don't start fights out there. Wow.
They'll get mad.
They're gonna be a little pissy.
Meanwhile, the poor giant's like, that was awesome.
I know, poor San Francisco. We're not even. Who? Speaking of who are you? Hey, Miles, how's it going?
Hello.
And thanks, Miles, for you know what? Your pick wasn't this terrible as this. You've had some stinkers, Miles. This one was actually okay. So there's that, you know? Second place is something. Pokemon Silver is a hell of a game, so enjoy that silver. And yeah, and of course, thank you for listening to this whole time, dissecting everything anime, summer season,
stage plays,
and all the stage plays, and all your fake harems, and endangering children's well-beings, all that. Apparently, this episode of Taco Otaku, man. Hopefully,
no children were harmed with making these episodes.
Thankfully, not. I guess I'm no longer to be a child anymore. Poor editing Ray. Pour one out for editing Ray. He worked hard. Give one out for him.
I always pour one out for editing Ray. We'll make sure editing Ray gets some beer or something tomorrow, because I know it's gonna be a rough one.
Indeed. With that, we say adieu, goodbye, farewell, wiedersehen, and all that jazz. And hope you guys hear from you in the near future. Until then, bye-bye.